makes me deep. Your heart is my temple. Your tears rinse my feet. I walk out, I'm able tears to carry your peace. It reminds me of a song that I heard long ago. Maybe I've always known that you were right there. A simple melody playing over and over in my dreams.
What's up, everybody? We are live. Thank you for being here. It's Tuesday night, so you know what time it is. We're in the Lion's Den, and we're going to get the show going. There's a lot going on right now. We got Mr. Beast Boy abandoning his family, changing his identity. We got stuff going on in Ukraine. We got the leaks going on. We got what else is going on? We got Robo police getting unleashed on the public. We got the AI situation happening that's crazy, and yeah, we're gonna talk all about that tonight. But you're watching Young Lion TV. Let's go.
Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, won't you get up and start fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding. Young lion.
Yes, sir. You are watching Young Lion TV, and we are in the Lion's Den right now. Shout out to all of my peoples in the building with me tonight. And if you're in the chat, please hit that like button and drop a comment in there to say hello. Let us know where you're checking in from. And also, don't forget to share this video because the algorithm hates us. So we need the love from y'all. But yeah, we're happy to be here, man. Have another conversation. There's a lot of stuff going on. Shout out to the people, the Young Lions, the Patreon members that support us. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And you guys keep this thing going, helping us out. So we appreciate you. And if you guys do want to sign up and become a Patreon member, go to patreon.com/YoungLionTV, and you can support the cause. There's plenty of different tiers, starting at the lowest $3 and then going up based on what you want to do and what type of access you want to have. So, check that out. Also, we got the merch. If you want to get the merch, it's on our merch store, which is in the link in the description. So, hop on over there and get you some merch. But the song you heard in the very beginning is a new song that we just put out. Our band is called Jatans. Mona's rocking the Jatan merch right there.
My favorite shirt.
And we just put out a song called Release. And we're excited about it. We got a lot of new music that we're planning on releasing this year. And that was the first one. No pun intended. But it's gonna be a fun year with a lot of new music. We've been writing like crazy, a lot of cool stuff, a lot of different vibes. We're doing we got like an Afro beats one that we've been kind of messing with lately, which is gonna be fun. But yeah, so head on over there to the streaming platforms if you want to hear Release and help us out. Go to Spotify, all that stuff, and you can stream the song and get in the spirit. It's something that was inspired definitely by God, and definitely feeds right into what we do here on the Young Lion podcast. And for those of you who are new here, this is what we do. We get together with friends and family, and we talk about politics. We talk about culture. We talk about life. But it's always framed around our belief in Jesus Christ and our faith in Jesus Christ. So that's kind of what forms all of our opinions on the world and the things that we want to build in our community. So that's what the Young Lion podcast is about. So without further ado, let me introduce the brother to my left. He is my brother from another mother. I've known this guy since he gave me a Chicken Little sandwich for free at KFC when I was in the 10th grade.
Hold up. I gave you more than
you did. You gave
Chicken Little, bro.
You gave me a whole bucket, whole bag of Chicken Littles and a bucket of chicken for free. I pulled through that drive-through in 10th grade. I was new to the school, and Mom popped his head out of that drive-through window. Was like, you go to my school, don't you? And I was like, yeah. And then he hooked me up with some chicken, and we've been friends ever since.
Brothers ever since.
Stealing chicken.
How to make black friends.
Right?
Yeah.
Steal somebody's stuff.
Yeah.
I was hooking him up.
Yeah,
we throw it out at night anyway. At night. He came late at night.
I came late at night. Nobody was saying nothing. It was all love, man. We're friends.
Jake ate it too. I know.
I did bring it home for Jake,
you
and
ate
he
it
ate
too.
some.
I definitely ate it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Definitely ate that.
Yeah.
Chicken, he said, can he sing? Get him on here.
That's the crazy part. Is we found that out later as we were hanging out that we all loved music, and we all sang and stuff like that. So, that became a part of the bonding. But we were already friends. We already hung out. It was just he was on the football team. I was on the soccer team. So
We guys played tennis together. Didn't y'all play tennis together?
We did, but that
did.
was in senior year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but man, we hung out. We had Spanish class together. We had a few classes together.
Yeah.
Too. Because
He was always smarter than me, though.
Yeah, I used to have to help him.
He was smarter than most.
But what solidified it was
The chicken.
But anyway, so without further ado, it's my brother from another mother, the coolest Asian in the world, gives out the free chicken, Simone Chang in the house.
What's up, y'all?
Messing up inventory in 1997.
And then after that, got me a job there,
Yes.
and I was working with him.
Yes.
And that was back when they used to marinate the chicken.
Yeah, it was so much
It was
better.
way better back then. KFC.
We used to have a tumbler, put
Yeah.
the chicken in there with the,
Dude,
the
remember
marinade.
that time when we had that new kid working there and he forgot to put the bin to catch the
Yes.
grease? He forgot. At the end of the night, you gotta release all the grease from the traps.
Do you know how many times I've heard this story?
Well, the people haven't heard it.
people
the
haven't
people
heard it.
haven't heard it. So if
That
you
was-
worked back in the day at KFC, oh mom, your mic, I got you. There you
I didn't hear it.
Yeah. So back in the day at KFC, at the end of the night, we had to clean up, and it would be so messy back there because it's flour, it's grease, it's you know what I mean, and it takes a
we
long
hose
time
the
to
water, hot water.
Yeah, we would
spray.
hose down the whole floor
Yeah.
and just squeegee it out the back door because it was just so much mess everywhere.
Right.
So we had this one new kid, and he didn't understand how to release the grease traps. You have to put these big bins under there to catch all the oil. So he just opened it up and flooded the whole floor with
With
grease.
Grease.
With grease,
So were
bro.
you guys falling and stuff?
Yes.
Oh my god!
And it took us like 3 hours. Like the stores closed. We used to close at like 10 p.m.
Yep.
And 3 hours of just like cleaning up grease off the floor, squeegeeing it up, spraying,
I remember how
and
dirty
then we
we
ran
were.
out of hot water.
Yep.
Remember? So we ran out of hot water. So now you're trying to spray it down with cold water. You know what happens when you spray. Yo, dude, that was a
Oh
nightmare.
my god!
Yeah, that was
Clogging
crazy.
up pipes in Blackwood.
Yeah, yeah. That was in Williamstown. Yeah, but man,
That
shout
KFC
out.
don't exist anymore.
Nah, isn't it
It's a Taco Bell.
KFC, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, right?
No, it's just a Taco Bell now.
Yeah, KFC is nowhere to be found. Well, hardly anywhere.
Yeah, man. But those were the days, man. KFC kitchen cleaning up back there.
Shout out to Courtney, Evans crew, my family.
Hey, Evans
Hey.
crew.
Carmen Martinez, Adam Fields,
What up, y'all?
Wilmer.
Wilmer.
Hit that like button, y'all. Share this video, please.
He says, "Shalom, family. Stealing chicken, Jacob. Jacob in the back."
Yo, Jake used to hate picking me up from work at KFC.
Yeah, because of
Because we
grease.
stink.
'Cause
No,
you was-
no. It was McDonald's.
McDonald's was worse.
Oh.
That was worse, dude.
Really?
When you would get in my car, you would smell like dried.
Pickles and
no, you would smell like dried blood.
dry blood.
Wow.
Yeah. So Jake was the bougie child. He never worked a fast food restaurant in his life.
Never did.
I worked McDonald's and KFC.
Mom hooked me up.
Yeah, mom got him the cushy job at the beach at Showboat ever since he was a teenager.
But then you got it too.
I got it later on, but my first couple jobs, like remember to go to work at McDonald's, I used to have to get on the bus with y'all in the morning, go to dad's house, and then walk to the McDonald's.
Yeah.
How old were you?
15,
Wow.
making $5.15 an hour.
Jeez, that's nothing.
And I remember my first day at work, dude, I was like, I don't think I can do this. And I told the manager because they had me on the griddle. And like I remember putting them patties on the thing and then pressing, you had the little press that you would put down so it would cook both sides at the same time. And that's why the whole like flipping burgers thing is a lie. Like they would put them on the grill and then they had these things that you would press down to cook both sides at the same time. And then it's set to a timer. So I remember the thing lifted up and I see all this blood sitting on top of the burgers and it like the smell coming off of there, like all that
man.
grease.
And that's
It made
what-
my stomach turn. Like
Yeah.
the smell of all that grease coming off.
Because it's got to be the worst meat.
It is. It's like the lowest grade meat.
Yeah.
But I remember like, and I went to go push it because the manager was, helping me. He's training me. So I'm standing there, I put it down, timer goes off, it lifts back up automatically. And I see all this blood. So I go to put it back down again. He's like, no, it's done. And I was like, it's not cooked all the way. But then I didn't realize that after that, they put it in these warming trays, which is going to finish the cooking. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
You
but
weren't
yeah,
into your meat eating phase of now.
and I was like, no, I ate meat like crazy, but it was just.
No, I'm saying medium.
The shock. Oh no, it wasn't even that. It was just the smell. You know what I mean? The shock of like that initial being back in that kitchen and the smells of like the pickles and the Big Mac sauce and all that grease coming off the thing. It turned really. I felt nauseous, and I was like, you don't think I could work up front? He was like, nope, this is the only job you get. And I was like, all right, I had to tough it out. And then I was back there killing it.
And I remember the first time you got in the car, I'm like, dude, you stink. That made me not want to eat McDonald's anymore.
Yeah.
Like KFC, it was a different smell.
Yeah.
But that dude, that was bad.
And we stunk.
That was really
KFC.
bad.
Yeah,
my mom
we
used to
did.
hate it too. When
I
she used to
hated
pick
it
me
too.
up.
The
Grease all
flour and
over.
the grease all over your boots.
The
Lord.
chicken, especially if you work in cooking
Yeah.
the chicken, you get that
I'm
chicken
sure I made
blood
you.
on it.
I'm sorry. I'm sure I made you take your shoes off when you got in the door. You must
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
No, I never could bring them shoes inside.
Layla said, she said, "Hi, Daddy, it's
Aw.
Layla."
Aw, cute.
Hey, Layla.
And Theris is
Hi,
in the house.
Layla.
Shout out to Theris coming over.
What's up, Theris?
Crossover from the Freddie
Look at
podcast.
that. Hi, Theris. She
Hey.
sends me messages too.
Hey, so why don't you say hi to her with the camera, Mom?
Oh. Hi, Theris. Hi, Layla.
Oh, speaking of that, let me finish my introductions.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
We went on. We always go on.
Layla,
tangents.
you got about 15 minutes till you go to bed.
Well, that's
Whoa.
because Jake started reading comments before it was time. But yeah, no, keeping it going, we got to introduce the brother who is more confusing racially than me. He looks like a black guy. He eats like an Indian guy. And he's got a Spanish last name. He is Mr. James Garcia, a.k.a. Mr. Build Right himself in the building. Coming straight from work. Thank you for being here tonight, brother. We missed you last week. Glad to have you back. And then, of course, we got my big brother, but he's everybody's big brother. He is the coach, the life coach, and, the preacher, the teacher, the
Teacher.
people, reacher, Mr. Jacob Eugene Evans III. Yeah.
Get cursed out on the soccer field.
Yeah, he got cursed out this weekend on this by a young boy. Yeah, these young kids don't have no respect no more, man. They don't respect their elders.
Theris said she is beautiful. Talking about you, mommy.
Oh,
And,
thank you, Theris.
Jakey said, "Hi, Daddy. It's Jacob."
Aw.
So Theris knows us from the Freddie podcast, where Freddie just kind of, cracks jokes on us the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh,
So this is going to be a
This is a
totally
different
different vibe and conversation for you on this one. But yeah,
We get a little serious here.
this is more of a spiritual vibe. But yeah, we appreciate y'all for being in and checking in the chat. So make sure you guys share the video. Don't forget, like we said, patreon.com/youngliontv if you want to become a member over there and help out, sign up for what we do. And Theris, we thank you. You sent stars the other day on our other stream. I saw that, so I appreciate you. You're the number one star sender in the world. So we
She
appreciate
sure
you.
is, right?
All right, so
yeah, wait a minute. You didn't,
oh yeah, that's right.
always forgets Mama.
I always forget. And then, last but not least,
I like the producer.
but not least, she is the number one producer in the world. Not only because she produces the show, but because she produced us.
Yes.
Yes.
In life.
And she's in everybody's business,
Yeah, she sure is.
especially mine
She
right
is
now.
definitely
I love it.
in Moon's business.
I love it.
She's in,
Yeah. Get ready, Jessica.
She's hiding. She's in here, but she's hiding.
Yeah. But she is our mother, and we love her. And her name is Angeli Lopez.
Yes.
Lopez. You know, Lopez is actually, most Lopez are Jewish.
Nah.
Yeah.
I was just watching something
It
about
comes from
wolf.
Sephardic Jews.
Yeah, Sephardic
Oh, wow.
Jews, but it like translates into wolf. Right?
Yeah, Lobo, yeah.
Yeah. I was watching a whole
Wow.
breakdown about how all these Sephardic Jews ended up in Latin American countries when because there was some European decree where they allowed them to when the Catholics were the Spanish Inquisition basically
Right.
when
Which
they
is
were
around the same time.
they were persecuting Jews and killing them, locking
Or
them up,
making them-
imprisoning them, or making them convert.
Yeah.
They had to either baptize or leave, or else they would die. So they allowed and they think somewhere up towards 1 million Jews probably left Spain around that time and fled to South America, Puerto Rico, all throughout the Spanish territories at that time where they had colonized. So that's why there's a lot of Jewish lineage back towards the Lopez name and certain names like that.
Yeah.
Cortez.
So you have Lopez on both sides, right?
Yeah. Well, my dad wasn't Lopez.
Well, he
No.
was Lopez from his mom.
Yeah, he took his mom's name. And then my mom was Lopez
Yeah.
before she married my dad. So Lopez.
And your grandfather, didn't his family come from the Canary Islands?
My grandfather was Italian.
No, Mom, not on your dad's side, on your mom's
Oh, yeah.
side. They came from the Canary
Yeah,
Islands, right? So maybe they left. Because that's Spain,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Maybe-
yeah. No, he was from Spain. He said, he told my mom he was born in Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he came
Yeah,
to
the
Puerto
Canary
Rico.
Islands.
Yeah.
But I'm saying maybe they left because of persecution. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
don't know either.
Just because of the Lopez name. I'm just
Yeah.
speculating.
Liz was telling me yesterday one of her coworkers just went to Spain for a couple weeks and just came back and they were talking about it. And she was like, one of the most racist places I've ever been.
Oh, yeah.
I heard about that.
Was
yeah.
that Spain?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at your father.
Yeah.
But they don't even realize they're racist.
Yeah.
Like it's just part of the culture
We don't like blacks.
to be to be racist. Yeah, because
Throwing bananas
they
and
say it
monkey
in,
noises.
they do it and they don't think that's racist.
That's crazy.
They don't think it's racist.
Yeah, isn't that the same country when what was it? The soccer team? They did.
That was in Italy
Was it Italy?
when they were throwing the bananas on
No,
the field.
No, I think it was the Spanish team actually, where it was in China. Something happened in China. I don't know exactly what competition it was, but the whole team went like this. They took a picture, like a photo op
That's
of
terrible.
all of them going like this.
That's terrible.
I don't know.
That's just an
But-
observation, though.
yeah.
That's not racist. No, I'm joking.
But they don't. You
But
know,
again, for them, is it
exactly.
you know,
I get what you're saying.
because I'm just saying we get pulled into this racist even talk.
Right,
like,
right. Everything's racist.
Yeah.
We're overly sensitive
Yeah.
about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some of it's treading the line though, like
listen.
like the Korean commercials.
Yeah.
The black guy
Yeah.
putting them into the washer, and he comes out this clean Korean guy. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
He goes in dirty African, comes out clean and glistening K-pop member.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have a cousin in Spain that's married to a black lady, and my cousins and my aunts, they got to deal with it.
Well, so what they were telling me is mostly in the cities it's a little more acceptable, but in the outskirts areas, kind of like where your father's from, it's a little bit more racist.
That's Cadiz.
God,
It's not
these-
really the outskirts.
That's by
That's
the
like
Rock of Gibraltar.
all the way by the rock.
No, but that's Cadiz is it's a pretty poppin' area.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So he's just an asshole.
Places
I
I'm
mean,
not
dude,
going.
he grew up. Hold up. Our grandfather grew up with no
Nothing,
no
nobody,
parents.
No parents.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So
think about
where, so no
streets.
one taught him to be racist.
I mean, he probably learned it on the street.
Yeah,
he grew up on the
exactly.
street. You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, still, it's the facts of it, though.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, that's interesting about the whole Spanish Jews.
Yeah, that was a tangent.
Yeah. Anyway, so first thing I want to talk about is this. Let's keep it trending topics. So you guys heard about Mr. Beast's partner in crime abandoning his family and deciding that he wants to be a woman.
Nope, I don't even know.
His partner in crime.
Yeah. So
One of the guys.
So this guy, Chris Tyson,
It's like his best friend.
You could
right?
pull this up. Yeah, it's his best friend, and he's in all his videos. This is him. Just had a baby. That's his wife there, and over the last couple weeks, he decided that he is this now.
What?
Yep. And
He just had a baby.
well, he decided that it's more important for him to
That is unbelievable.
Live his best life.
live his truth. He had a beautiful wife, beautiful baby, decided he'd rather turn himself into a hot topic trans chick.
I can't even imagine what his wife is going through.
It's crazy, man. Like, but a lot of people are talking about it because actually this guy used to be like a Trump supporter. He actually used to like put up tweets making fun of trans people and like making fun of pronouns and so Tim Pool had a pretty like good take on it where it seems like it's more of maybe he's just a guy who always got caught up in whatever's trending on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like when he was all in on Trump and calling Hillary supporters crazy because that was when the Trump memes were like trending like crazy. So he got like roped into that ideology. And now what's trending now that's, you got Dylan Mulvaney with the Bud Light thing. Bud Light now losing $7 billion because people aren't buying them now because of the Dylan Mulvaney thing. You got, everything you see on TikTok and on social media is pushing that trend. So you got someone who starts to get caught up in that trend. It's basically, he was basically equating it to, you guys remember the Elsa Gate situation? You can take that down, Mom.
Okay.
You guys don't remember the Elsa Gate thing?
Elsa Gate.
It was like this. We kind of showed it on the podcast a couple years ago. It was when those weird videos of like Elsa being chased by Spider-Man, but then like drinking a beer, and then like it got even weirder where there was like poop in the toilet. It was like these weird videos started becoming like, millions and millions of views on YouTube because kids were watching them because it got caught up in, it got like spun up into the kids' algorithm because what it was, they realized that the most trending videos at the time were Elsa videos. This was like the height of Frozen, where parents would just put on Elsa videos for their kids to watch. So it was like a mom wanted their kids to watch the iPad for a little bit. They just put on an Elsa video. So people that were making content realized that to get ahead of the algorithm, to like, they could just make a video that included Elsa. And then they started using like computer generated videos where they would just have keywords like Elsa, you know what I mean? And whatever was trending, and it would spit out these like weird concept videos like those that kids started watching like crazy. They were like the most.
And parents didn't know.
You
Like,
you remember them? Like they were
I
disturbing.
do remember them now.
They were disturbing, like weird.
I don't have
videos.
a daughter, so I guess it didn't really impact me like that.
But I mean, we showed a couple on here before, like how weird and disturbing they were, and we didn't. And at the time, I was like, how is this? Why are they showing this to kids?
Yeah.
But it's because the algorithm starts to rule, and when the algorithm starts to rule, then the content starts to follow the algorithm, which is what they're trying. What a lot of people are saying creates a Dylan Mulvaney because you got a guy who just wanted to be famous by any means necessary and realized that the easiest way to do that is to start just
The trans.
like
he's
first,
not really trans.
First day of being trans, second day of first day of being a woman,
woman.
second day of being a woman, and realizing that caught the algorithm like crazy, and now leaning into that even further and further.
When you have no like compass.
Yeah.
When you have no compass, it's just like, and you're just receiving anything in. It's kind of like, when you go online, like immediately, I'm not gonna look at that. Yeah, I want no parts of that. But some people don't have no filters,
Yeah.
or they don't have a compass, whatever. So they're just feeding on anything. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, this is weird. Like, look at all the weird fetish stuff that goes on.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff that I sent you.
Mhm.
Was like, where is this coming from?
Okay.
Stuff that we talked about in the past about the whole LGBT thing,
Yeah.
and where it's really gained strength, and we talked about Ishtar,
Yeah.
and that whole thing. So there's all those connections with that.
Theris sent 50 stars.
Oh.
She said they need Jesus. Pray for them.
Yes, they do.
But I think too, the people who are viewing this are so young. They're just viewing it out of curiosity. Because if you look at Dylan Mulvaney when he does it, he's so animated.
Yeah.
He's so, look at me, I'm doing this.
Right.
He, like little kids would be attracted. No sensible adult is going to watch that with interest.
Mm-hmm.
It's more geared towards children.
Yeah,
So-
his fan base is like
Yeah,
no
so
older
children-
than 15.
Right. So children are geared towards like more like animated way of talking, animated way of walking.
Yeah.
They love silliness. They're
Yeah.
drawn to it. It's kind of like when we were little and we saw Jim Carrey and Ace Ventura. Our parents thought that was stupid.
Yeah. Martin, watching Martin.
Yeah, it was stupid to them, but to us, it was entertaining.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. These people, how old is he? Like in his 30s or late 20s?
I don't even know.
All right, so he's a grown man, but
Yeah.
his fan base is really children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The second thing I was going to say about the Mr. Beast thing, I don't know what to believe anymore with these type of people. I think everything is a stunt. Everything is geared towards getting people to view me or to see. I think because it's almost like people have tuned in to getting people to react to them.
Yeah.
And they need it. So look at me transform. Look at me do this. It's the same thing we were talking about with the Just Pearly things.
Mm-hmm.
She's saying ridiculous things because she wants views. She wants people to tune in.
Yeah.
It's the manosphere stuff.
That's
Right.
But when you got a family, like this guy has a family.
Yeah.
He does, but we don't know.
Like James is saying, we don't know if it's something real. Maybe they're just doing it.
Well, apparently
Just
he's
for-
taking hormones.
Right.
It
could be. It could be. But I just don't know what to
Wow.
believe with the stunts anymore. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, and Mr. Beast is openly said that his goal in life is to be, he's set up a game for himself. His game is like, when you think of Mr. Beast is that like nerdy, like weird kid that would be at the arcade obsessed with one game to get the high score. That's what he's doing with YouTube. He's the
Yeah.
kid that's obsessed with getting the high score
Right.
at YouTube.
Right.
So all he cares about is winning YouTube.
right.
That's all he cares about. So I see what you're saying with that, where it's like anything for content. But this is his friend. This
No,
is
I
not
get
him.
it. And who knows? Maybe his friend was like, dude, we got to put this on. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's like the era of Jackass ended.
Yeah.
And now it's a new thing. But it's like they drew you in with giving away stuff to get your attention.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, well, how do we keep your attention? Because those people, after a while, it's how many people you can see him give stuff to?
Yeah, and you see the Dylan Mulvaney blow up like it did. This dude's talking to Biden at the White House, getting all these endorsements from Nike, from Bud Light, from all
Yeah.
So it's
Copycats.
but I think I think it does. I think it could be that, but it also could be I see this as a way for me to get attention.
be.
Because think about it, he's always been in Mr. Beast's shadow.
Yeah. It could
You know
be.
what I mean?
It could be.
This could be his,
His
Caitlyn
Lucifer
Jenner.
moment. His
Caitlyn
Lucifer
Jenner.
moment.
Yeah, right.
He wants to overthrow. I will ascend and defeat you.
Yeah.
Could be that.
How do
You
y'all
know?
feel about that though? I don't think we really talked about the Dylan Mulvaney.
The beer thing.
The Bud Light thing.
How like what am I trying to say? The other companies has sponsored like Pride stuff before. Like,
Yeah.
even the Jack Daniels thing.
Yeah.
it didn't get that backlash. Even though I think it's the same company, it didn't get that backlash.
Yeah, Anheuser-Busch.
That because they sponsored the RuPaul thing.
Yes.
but Dylan Mulvaney.
I think
got
that's-
that conservative.
But this is
back.
what I think. I think that speaks into because people see what Dylan Mulvaney is.
Right.
It's something different than the rest of this stuff. Like the rest of this stuff is just like people trying to, live their truth, people trying to whatever. And corporations want to get behind that to seem like they're inclusive or whatever. This Dylan Mulvaney thing for Bud Light to like put his face on a can of beer kind of sent a message like we're propping up people that only care about being like, because people see it's not genuine.
Yeah.
With Dylan Mulvaney,
Adults.
yeah,
And
and also his whole fan base is kids. Like
it's
you were
kids.
saying.
Like
Yeah.
what is Budweiser saying? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like what are they trying to
Well,
trying to
it's-
get a different market?
It
for
was
themselves, or
that
is
one person that got promoted. I don't know if you guys saw the who.
Yeah, that woman,
The
right?
woman got promoted to VP of marketing, and she put out the statement saying that we need to reach a new market. We need to get the youth and all this stuff, and we need
So
to get
she
it.
admit to it.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And this was part of the plan, to bring in people like that. So, but what is the backlash now? Now they're, almost $8 billion down in the stock market. They're panicking.
Yeah, they're hurting right now.
They just put out Budweiser just put out like a one of those horse ads that they used to do after 9/11 they're like, no, we still love
Bring
you
the
guys.
horses.
Right.
Oh my God.
America, drink some beer again.
I heard. I think Don Jr. is defending them a little bit.
Yeah, I saw that.
because they
Sponsor.
do sponsor like conservative stuff.
I think that's weak. That's
Yeah.
weak. Like if you're gonna totally like bow to them just because they donate to Republicans, like to me
Yeah.
that's weak. Like that's you're letting the money control you. I think
I mean, dude, it's Bud Light.
yeah,
But
But like nasty.
Yeah, but like
but
I said,
it is-
Anheuser-Busch. They own a lot. They-
it not only is it Anheuser-Busch, y'all might not know this, but Bud Light is one of the biggest beers in the world.
I
Yeah.
know, but this is my point. We've given ourselves over to consumerism to
Yeah.
the point where we don't even think about stuff. We're just so caught up in brands
The
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
nowadays that we don't think about these things, And I think that's the bigger issue is like maybe we need to pay attention to what we're buying, who we're buying from, and even in terms of like you don't even know what's in, like it's barely beer.
Yeah.
You don't even know what's in it, let alone who they're like. If they don't care about that, they don't care about what they're selling to you.
Yeah.
So I think we don't think about those things, and maybe we need to start thinking about those things as a.
Well, there's that, but I think part of it, from what I see from reading the comments, people are very annoyed that they it's not unequivocally evidence. There's evidence to show that they're pushing this.
Yes.
This is not organic. It is being pushed.
to,
Okay.
for a brand like that to totally turn its back on its number one consumer base.
It's number one
Yeah.
consumer base because they're pushing it. Because
Yeah.
even him, you can see how awkward he is. He doesn't drink this. He's in a hot tub, trying to pretend that he's enjoying it.
Right.
It's fake. It's not. It's almost like a skit. So people see through that. Yes, they're annoyed that he's being shoved down their throat, but it's almost like you guys are lying to us. And
Yeah.
we're seeing it to our face. You know what I mean? And I think that's what, to me, I see.
But
people
they've
are
been
annoyed.
lying.
No, they are. But I'm saying the reaction is from people is they're upset that
And it's so obvious with this.
It's
one.
obvious
obvious
now.
with this one.
But that's my point. That's my point. It like with all rulers, and if you think these people ain't rulers, you're lying to yourself.
Right.
With all rulers, like it shouldn't take us for them to be so prideful that we're looking like, hold up,
Yeah.
these people are crazy.
Yeah.
That's what happens most of the time. Like you become so prideful that you really think you can do whatever you want.
What pride comes before
The fall.
the fall. Because why? Because you get so emboldened by how much you've been getting away with stuff
Right.
that you cross that line.
Well, here's how we know if conservatives are truly about about protecting America's liberties is if they do go to these rallies and they see Anheuser-Busch and those Bud Light, they protested there.
Yeah.
Because that means that the politicians, like what Don Jr. is saying there, who are defending it,
Yeah.
they're only interested in the donations that they're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
If you're going to take this kind of stand, then you should say we don't want your kind of money. If you're going to do whatever it takes to sell beer, no matter if it comes against traditional family values, we're not going to stand with you.
Yeah, and that's what it has to be. I mean, it's got to be you stand up with your dollar, you know.
That's it.
And we don't accept anything else. And I think that's what's been happening. It's actually been winning. Like
Yeah.
when you see, I've seen a lot of videos from reps from Bud Light, people that
I've seen those, yes.
and they're saying like, "Yo, we can't move any beer. No one wants it. Like people are not buying this." I know a couple of big artists totally removed it from their tours.
Their songs.
Yeah, their songs. They removed lyrics that talked about Bud Light. Like
Who wrote Bud Light lyrics?
Country songs, bro.
Country.
My Bud Light.
Yeah.
Got my pickup truck
In
and
my
my Bud Light.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shout out to Thera. She said, "Okay, I see the other side of you guys."
and she sent 50 more stars.
Yeah, thank you, Thera.
Oh, we love you,
She
Thera.
said
Thank you.
she's going on her other phone too. Thank you. Yeah, but I think, and it also speaks to an even bigger issue that we're gonna keep showing the videos. Another 100 stars from Theris. Thank you. We'll play some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole Dylan Mulvaney thing, we really haven't got a chance to get to it. It's been crazy.
We didn't want to talk about it, but it's like,
I think the backlash speaks for itself.
Yeah, yeah,
You know.
yeah, definitely. I mean,
they're hurting right now.
they're hurting and they're panicking.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see Whoopi Goldberg addressed it on The View today?
Didn't she threaten?
Which, no, she basically was saying like, you know, well, they shouldn't be afraid of them. They should be afraid of us. Because, you know,
Every
we're-
time it reminds me of the Simpsons sister.
Yeah, that's what she sounds like.
Marge.
Marge
Simpson,
sister.
Marge Simpson's sister. They should be afraid of us because we're the ones who protest. We're the ones. Like she was basically saying, like they have, like who's the ones that normally get things canceled?
It's the left.
Yeah. So she's saying, like, you know, that's who they should be afraid of.
Yeah. Well, and that's no. It's not about that. It's really about the consumers.
Yeah.
That's really all it's about.
Yeah, that's speaking.
Who's if you're gonna buy they're a company, you're forgetting what this is.
Yes.
This is about capitalism. The problem with capitalism is that you got to be responsible, and we forget that when you
That's
put
the
money
beauty
before
of capitalism.
Yeah,
Right.
Is
yeah.
that the power is in the buyer.
Yeah.
And if
Right.
the buyer decides that they don't want to buy your product anymore, then you messed up.
Yep. And when you start putting money before, when the companies put money before everything, and then the people put desire before everything.
I think with this situation, it exposes something even worse because this exposed how they're putting an agenda and that the ESG, all of these movements, the ESG movement and inclusivity and equity and inclusion, because who did they promoted a woke woman to be the head of VP of marketing. And then what did she do? She put the agenda above money.
Yeah.
Because their consumer base is not the base that cares about Dylan Mulvaney.
I can guarantee they did absolutely no research to find out.
Well, they're all distancing themselves. They say we had no idea about this.
Yeah, of course not.
We didn't know about this.
Yeah.
A
You
lot of
know?
people got fired.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about the phoniness of corporations and companies. Like we said, capitalism, great.
Yeah.
But the consumer will speak by spending their money.
Yes.
We know this to be a fact because Qatar, who
Yes.
hosted the soccer last year, we know what their stance is. BMW, all of the companies that have proclaimed to be allies to the gay community, when you go to someone showed their ads in those countries,
Yeah.
there's no LGBTQ promotion.
Yeah.
They are far from that because
Right.
they know that consumer base over there will not tolerate that.
Yes. Yeah.
So where's the work ads? Where's the
There's no
inclusion
rainbow
flag? There's no rainbow
logos
flags.
over
There's no
there.
nothing. So you're selectively outraged and you're trying to push it on this side,
Yes.
but over there because you want their money.
Right.
You care about their consumer dollars over there because they're just like us. They're going to buy. They're going to go to those games, but they have a different stance politically, socially, religiously.
Yeah.
And they're not, and they understand that they cannot force it because
Yep.
those people will collectively take that brand and kick it out the
Yep.
country. And they can't lose it.
And then we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Look at the countries that don't have the buying power of a Qatar or Saudi Arabia.
Sure.
They go over there and try to tell them,
Force-
yes,
yeah. Strong arm.
yeah, like
Right.
they're doing in Africa.
Africa,
And
yeah.
Africa is like, all right, guess what? Sell all your American dollars. Get rid of them.
Yeah, there has been no pro LGBTQ ads in the Middle East.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
And these are the same companies that will do that here.
Every June, it's getting ready to come up.
It's about to come up, bro.
So you're selectively woke when you feel that you could push your agenda on people who are not going to push back. But those countries, you will never do that.
Theris sent another 100 stars. Shout out to Theris, man. Supporting. She said, I love the new song release. I have to see what my social security check look like to see what level pride I can be.
Theris.
You're awesome, Theris.
Theris, you already support you and
Yeah.
you're subscribed to Freddie's Love Club. You don't got to worry about signing up. You're already a young lion to us. So
I wanted to say, I think it is about money. But what gets in the way and what clouds people's judgment is it's actually about ruling over people.
yeah.
So you overplay your hand.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. Because, like you said, they're not going to do that in another society because they don't see it the same way.
Yeah.
So I think for America, people, they think there's an echo chamber. There's a lot of people who stay in their echo chambers and they think that America is one way when they really don't have an idea because they stay in their echo chambers.
Yeah, but I feel like, these companies, they don't know their market. The same thing happened with Carhartt.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yep.
Well, when you think of somebody who wears like Carhartt, what do you think of?
Like right wing.
The hard working man, the dude that's working outside.
the working man.
Yeah.
Drinking Bud Light.
Drinking Bud Light.
Yeah.
Construction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they
But they were trying to get out of that. They were trying to.
And that's what Bud Light was trying to. Well, that's what
They're trying to change
the
their
woman.
mark.
They're trying to rebrand.
Yeah.
But the reason why you got to where you are is because these people have brand loyalty to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You think that these so you're telling your consumer base that you totally have taken them for granted and you don't care about them, and not only that, we're just gonna turn our backs on everything y'all believe in, you know. So yeah, that's of course now they're getting backlash. That's where you get Kid Rock, shooting cans of Bud Light. Did you see the video of them steamroll? They had like thousands of cases of Bud Light from like that they had confiscated from all these liquor stores, and they took a steamroller and drove over all of them.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get into more of that later when we get into like the Christian stuff and how that's kind of infiltrating into the church. But let's go on to another member of the Mr. B Squad on a better note. This is the guy named Chandler who's in a lot of the videos. He just got baptized.
Yes.
Nice.
So he's professing his faith in
Who's
Jesus
this?
Christ. He's another member of the team. He's in like a lot of the videos because it's basically Mr. B started a channel where all of his friends from growing up are in the video.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
Yeah. And he used to be a Christian. So there's this weird controversy with all of it because he used to be a Christian. Now he's kind of saying he's not a Christian. This guy Chris used to be a Trump supporting right wing, guy. And now all of a sudden he's totally something different. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. All right. So moving on, you guys see this stuff happening in Chicago over the weekend?
Yeah.
This craziness? Yeah, I haven't seen it. I'll play just a second of this
bunch of
report
teens.
on it. It was called the Teen Takeover in Chicago.
Fox News. Teen takeover terrorizes Chicago as hundreds of teenagers destroy property and attack tourists.
So Saturday,
So, I mean,
weekend.
Look, I'd love to go in on that joke with you, my friend, but no.
Worse than normal?
I just saw, this is nuts. So I've seen estimates of
Several
hundreds
innocent
to
people
thousands.
were robbed, beaten, terrorized, had their cars destroyed by a mob of 300 plus teens. The mayor elects response. So this is after Lightfoot is out. They elected a even more progressive, person.
Socialist.
Yeah, pretty much socialist. And he basically said, he defended the mob's action, saying they've been starved of opportunities. So these teenagers basically, they kind of collectively set up this flash mob where they were just going to go vandalize the city, and it ended up being thousands and thousands of people. They were burning cars in the streets.
Oh my God.
They were robbing people, beating people. A couple people got shot.
But are you hearing about this in the news?
Not really. Like
No.
they glossed over it a little bit. But it was pretty much chaos all Saturday
how do you
night.
defend that?
Yeah. But he said we shouldn't demonize the youth for this. They're just starved of opportunities. That's what
It's not
he
about
said.
demonizing. It's about holding people accountable.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Hold people accountable. That's the breakdown of community.
Yeah.
When we don't. Oh, but you got to understand. Like, I hear these things all the time. Oh, you don't understand. They have this issue. Like, I'm just talking about regular people,
Yeah.
That I come across. They're dealing with this. But they still have to be held accountable.
Yep.
Yeah, you can have sympathy. You can have empathy for people, but you still have to hold them accountable, because if you don't, you're doing them a disservice.
Yeah. So they looted a bunch of stores. They ransacked Walmarts and Targets and all that stuff. Here is the new mayor's response to that situation.
Food because that's how they can eat?
The real answer is, how do we make sure, the question is, how do we make sure that people can eat? Look, no one is going to condone, behavior that quite frankly speaks to a level of desperation.
So you're not condoning looting?
I'm saying that people are acting out of desperation. We don't want a society that is acting out of desperation, but you have to pay attention to the cries that people have.
So you're not condoning looting?
There's no
He won't
way
answer it.
to embrace that. What I'm saying
He
is,
won't directly
you can't
say no.
condone the looting that corporations continue to do every single day when they take tax dollars from black, brown, white folks all over the city of
There you
Chicago
go.
so that they can turn a profit.
And you know what happened in turn with that? Walmart closed like 4 locations in Chicago. Because Walmart is closing 4 of their store locations in Chicago. Gee, I wonder why. They're constantly getting broke into, looted, robbed. I just saw this in San Francisco too, like a bunch of Targets closing all their locations, Walgreens, like all these stores. There's about to be deserts in these cities because it's not worth it because of looting, theft.
Yeah, but if 300 people got together to do this, he knew about it.
300. It was thousands.
What? I thought it was like 300.
No, 300 people got robbed.
What? So it was thousands, and he
Yeah.
let that. Oh my God! I just don't get it.
Because he's saying, but you're not understanding, these are cries. But it's like, okay, they're spoiled kids that cry every day.
Yeah.
They need discipline.
And
Yeah.
crying is different than burning down cars and
Exactly.
robbing people.
Well,
They did
people.
something bad every day. The
Here's-
companies did bad things every day, so they have a right to do that.
Yeah, they have a right to retaliate. This is
my gosh.
one of the Walmarts, I believe.
Oh my gosh!
And I was just seeing these clips, like,
Wow.
So it's a lack of respect. They don't care. They think they can do whatever they want
Yeah.
because that's being cultivated in their lives.
yeah,
You can't. If things are in chaos, nothing thrives. It's a jungle,
yeah,
right? Chaos is a jungle. Like, nothing's thriving. You have to cut it down. You gotta cultivate it. Like, that's not cultivation. That's wild.
Thera said, "That's crazy. Did you see what they're doing to the youth, killing them for knocking on wrong door and turning someone's driveway?" CNN, Kansas City. Yeah, I saw that
I think I
story
heard
today.
that story.
Yeah. I mean, that was a sad, tragic story. Boy walked up to the wrong house.
Trying to pick up his
little brother.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And the guy opened the door and, well, no, I think he tried to open the door and the guy was scared. It was an 84-year-old man. Shot him in the head.
And then I think he shot him in the hand.
Yeah, after that.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
But he didn't, I believe he's recovering now. But yeah, he was like, he was in like gifted and talented classes in the orchestra. Like he was a good kid, Just one of those tragic stories, Of course, the news and CNN, as Theris probably saw, tried to make it that it was he shot him because he was racist, which he probably
Could have been. Yeah.
he probably could have had like those fears of this young black guy I don't know is coming to my door trying to open my door and got scared.
Yeah.
He turned himself in.
Yeah, he did. But I'm just saying like the narrative of the news is because we hear that story. Brought up that story. You know why? Because it's everywhere. Mm-hmm. That story is everywhere. That's all they're talking about is that story. But this Chicago stuff, nowhere. And the that lady in the middle of this, there was a lady that got attacked by a whole group of people. You don't see that story.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't fit the narrative that they want to push.
And really like what's more important? Something that happens and it's more of a chance thing. It's still sad.
Yeah.
Or stuff that's happening collectively where people are actually getting together. That's something that can grow and can become really
the mob
detrimental. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's definitely becoming more of a systemic problem. Where you see like that city is getting worse and worse and worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It happens in Philly too.
Yeah.
They have meetups and they go.
They
like,
do.
It's happened a few times.
It has happened. But I
not
remember
as bad.
I remember like Andrew Tate tweeted, who and what type of adult in their right mind would choose to live in Chicago, And then in the comments, all the people were coming at him like, you wouldn't last 2 seconds in this city, you would be shot, blah, 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 blah. It's like, you're kind of making his point.
Yeah. Like, why do you have pride?
How is that? Yeah. Like, why is that something you're bragging about? That shows you a cultural problem. That shows you something that we should not be glorifying how
rough a city.
bad a city is and feeling like that's a badge of honor to live there and be able to survive there.
Yeah.
What do you think needs to happen, with these kids, in terms of like...
I think it's a whole bunch of issues, bro. Like we're looking at the, how like you can look at somebody who's like really sick and in the hospital and you're like, man, what's wrong with them? And it's like, well, where do we start? He was drinking soda from the time he was 6 years old, eating, this McDonald's every day. Like there's so many compounding issues that creates that cancer. You know what I'm saying? Like cancer doesn't just come because, well, we got to just fix this one thing and it goes away. It's like there were so many decisions made. There's so many like problems in what we've been basically fooled to believe.
I think the biggest thing is environment. It's the environment that you grow in.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's
But what causes the environment? Like there's so many things about like, fathers not being in the homes. There's so many things about
education,
the education system
no money
being broken
for them to do stuff.
Yeah, government assistance, the policies in those cities that create those environments. The
programs being cut all the time from inner cities,
and then the Jim Crow issues that led a lot of people to buying into those systems before that. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things, even in like Chicago and the surrounding cities, when you look at like the manufacturing that was used to bring a lot of blacks into those areas as workers, and then they shut down those factories when they sent those jobs overseas. So then you force a lot of people into poverty.
Yeah.
You see the same thing in Detroit. You see the same thing in Gary, Indiana. Like all these places where there was Pittsburgh. You see it there too. Like a lot of these people moved to those towns because there was job opportunities there, and they were
But
working
somebody
these
like
factories.
AOC runs those companies out.
Yeah.
The companies are vilified,
Right.
and I don't understand that. Like I don't get that concept. They're vilified, and then they're pushed to move elsewhere.
Yeah,
You know, and the people don't have jobs.
because it's easy to blame. It's easy to blame someone who seems like they're making all the money and people are poor. It's easy to blame them and say, well, why do they have everything and we don't have anything? Instead of saying like, all right, what can they do to help get jobs, create opportunities? Like
that's
clearly
that's a big misconception that they use. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go
like
ahead.
The Democrats, I hear them say that all the time. It's like, you know, like somebody getting rich means somebody else is getting poor.
Yeah.
No, like if they're rich and they're providing you jobs in your community, everybody is eating.
Yeah.
You know, and it makes a good economy for your community.
Right. But then there's the other side of that where the Republicans will turn a blind eye to all of the sweet deals that they give them and the incentives and the payoffs.
Yeah.
To pass regulations to keep these people in power to stop small businesses from being able to thrive as well. So there's a double, it's a two-edged sword from both sides of the political party that are using their own self-interest to create all of these issues, I believe, which then has also created the issue in families and created the issue in the education system. But then you get a bunch of kids that have no purpose and no,
you're never gonna be able to do away with poverty and ignorance. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But so like it's not like it's just gonna disappear.
Mm-hmm.
It's never gonna happen. It says Jesus said the poor is always gonna be with you.
Yeah.
But I do think that if you have hope and you trust and you like, I know for like, look at Camden.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say,
we had a mandate to pray for Camden years ago, and that was something we did consistently throughout the years. And just like believing and doing the things that God has shown us to do strategically, just even spiritually.
Yeah.
You've seen how like companies have come in.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff
corruption got uncovered. Legislation got passed. The school system got totally overhauled. The police system got totally overhauled. Yeah, I mean,
the crime went down.
Yeah.
Like, murders went down. Like all these things happened. So I think that's what I'm saying. Like environment. If you change the environment, which has to do with atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I don't think people. Obviously, like
that is way beyond what anyone people run too much to policies. What policies do we need?
But that's why it's believers. I don't even like saying Christians.
Yeah,
it's believers who truly believe that God can work something, and you don't have to know a lot. It's just like, all right, God, I know that you can do something in this area.
Yeah.
I know you got hope for this area, so show me what to do.
And listen, you cannot discount the power of multiple people coming together with a belief and a hope in something and that thing manifesting because everyone is on one accord in that way, believing and praying for that outcome. You know what I mean?
Listen, every time I went to my aunt's house in Camden, I'm not lying, there was drug dealers always on the corner, gunshots, people dying on her foot,
on every corner.
Every
because
block.
she lived right at the corner, and
it
was like there was a different drug dealer on.
But not only that, people got shot right in front of her home. Yeah. And now you don't see any.
Yeah. Totally different.
I will go there and I don't see any. I was like, wow, that's a big change.
Sarah said here in Edison too. She said they need the summer job program back like CETA. And then she said, God is good. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in his name.
She gave 50 more stars.
Yeah. So I think like even just like there's an oppression that comes where you feel like you gotta do these things. You gotta live this way. You gotta succumb to this way of thinking. All these things, like, but if you can just pray, pray and hope. Even that,
But
brings,
that is so easier said than done for people that are mixed up in it, and they've been so.
well, it's not. I'm saying people who can see, like,
Oh,
okay, what do
okay.
we do?
Right.
You know, you could start there. Like,
Yeah.
as a believer, you could start there. Like,
Shout out to Xavier. He said, "I live in Camden. I agree."
Part of it too, I had a meeting with the juvenile detention center today, and the director asked me, what would be my idea to help if I could rehabilitate some of these kids.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I said, what you have to do is incentivize the kids that are committed to learning.
Mm-hmm.
So the kids that are doing what they're told and they're showing commitment in their chores and finishing tasks on a timely manner, those are the kids that are promoted. And what you do is you incentivize companies, and specifically in the trades, to hire those kids.
Mm-hmm.
How you incentivize them? Well, you got to give those companies a sort of tax break to say, hey, listen, we're going to pay for this kid to come learn an apprenticeship with you. We will supply the tools, we'll supply all of these things, and you're going to help them learn a trade. I think that we have gotten so used as a society to big corporation coming in, as a Cooper, as a Campbell's, as a LG, a Samsung. We look for those big companies to come in and swoop in and save the day. We don't ever think, what about the small business? What if we incentivize them to hire, to train, to give people a trade? And we give people a sense of purpose. A lot of these kids, they don't have purpose.
Well, here's the problem, because you run a small business, so you kind of can feel this. A lot of small businesses, especially now, they're barely hanging on.
Sure.
So for them to provide resources and time and energy,
that's what I was saying. I was saying the state.
Yeah.
The state have to partner with us.
Okay.
So if you say, hey, listen, James, I got 3 kids. We're gonna give you this amount of money to pay for him, and this money goes directly to the paying for his tools, his training. What would it cost you to train a young man or a young woman? What would it cost? How much is that? Okay, let's say I say, okay, it would cost $10,000.
Yeah.
If we had 3 kids, that's $30,000. What is that to incentivize a business to then invest in those kids? And you got 3 people that are learning a trade. Okay, but if we're waiting on the bigger companies to come in, it takes a long time. There's a lot of bureaucracy with that.
I still have a problem, and the problem is you're expecting the state to step up and do something.
No, he is asking me, what do you think would happen? And like I'm saying, if the state would listen to local small businesses, there's a lot of businesses that don't have help.
Yeah.
What if they partnered with them?
But this is what I'm saying. Like, the state never does a good job of allocating things like that. So I could just see it becoming a huge mess, where funds are just getting pushed to all of their boys and cronies for these fake incentive programs, where then nothing happens. You know, that's the problem. I think we get more what's the word? Results. We get more results when we rely on the private sector to do those type of things. If someone can set up a foundation, or if someone can, or like it would be amazing if the local churches were doing things like that.
Yeah.
Like who?
Or how about just people volunteering, or even just getting jobs in areas where there's younger kids, teachers, coaches, that are believers, and okay, let me do this because I know I can influence some kids. Because what James said, like, if you get a couple kids that want to learn, that's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
And if you encourage those kids, and then other kids, they don't want to listen, but then they're seeing these kids.
That's
know.
That's what I told him. I said,
just think the state wouldn't be able to pull that
off. No. I'm not talking about the state.
I'm not saying state run. I'm saying incentivized to. They would pay for this, because what does it take to house this kid? What does it take to feed this kid?
Yeah.
All the rehabilitation program. What if it was the direct? Now, I mean, yes, of course. Is it? What I'm saying is going to take a huge amount of investments.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that better to have that kid waste away in a detention center, and come out and go to other bigger things, or give them a trade or give them something to learn.
Definitely
And a
better.
sense of
Definitely.
purpose. You know what I mean? We talked about that. He said we did do that in the 80s and they cut those programs.
Yeah.
Because
Reagan.
And here's the thing. You have to incentivize these small businesses to say, if you do this, here's what you get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Because the businesses, you're a liability to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I think to one side it's like they're a business, so I don't even think it's their job. I think it's more like where are kids going to be at?
Yeah.
You incentivize the kids, okay, you're going to school. This is what we can do. Like, but you got to get people who are already like, if you're like, oh, the school system suck, right? Nothing changes. If you don't want to do anything, but you're complaining, I think we need to get people who believe and like, let me do this here, let me do this here, you know. And it's gonna be annoying and it's gonna be hard, but when you start to, because I see it, man, I see it coaching. I see how you can get these kids to listen, and then they get inspired. Like there's kids on my team that were straight disrespectful, and now they're like waiting for the next thing you say.
Yeah.
Like when
You see it turn around.
You see the turnaround.
Yeah.
And it's just these little things. And then some of those kids, they start to inspire other kids.
So it's really just like a matter of them feeling a sense of purpose and catching that spark for that purpose, that passion.
Because then they grow up and then they're going to go to those small businesses.
Yeah.
Because if you have that inspiration at a younger age, you got to get them when they're younger.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what, man, we already see it. They already put it in place. That's school systems, public school systems. You got to get them when they're younger.
Yeah.
They're already taking our kids. They're already programming our kids.
Yeah.
We got to take that back.
Yeah. And like I said, here's the thing. If you incentivize young men and young women to have a purpose at a young age, you wouldn't even need the detention centers. Yes, of course, I think always going to be kids that go to the extreme, sure. But if you give kids a purpose when they're younger and they see that, wow, this is rewarding. It doesn't have to be construction. It could be anything. And they see that there's reward in there. Now you tell those businesses, hey, you hired the 3 best from here, or you hired whoever it is, and we'll give you this, this, and this. I think a lot of kids will be motivated to change and turn their lives around. Because sometimes that's exactly what happens. You see your peers, because those thousands of kids who went out there, I can guarantee you about 60% of them were peer pressured, of feeling like if they didn't go, you're a punk, you're afraid.
Yeah,
right. A lot of times kids are doing
you're
things.
Corny.
Kids are doing things. We all been there. We got in a car when we were younger because we're riding with whoever, the cool kids or whatever it is. We went to a party we shouldn't be. We went up part of town because we don't want to be the guy who
the square.
Square. So a lot of it is peer pressure.
Yeah.
But I think if we turn that around, we said, listen, let's say this kid does really well in construction, and we awarded this kid, hey, here's a van, here's some tools. He started his own business, and that kid comes back. I think a lot of, because I've watched this happen with kids. Once they accomplish these goals, they want to come back and show the community. They want to do it. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Rappers do it all the time. When they get money, they come back and floss through the hood with their cars. But I think there's a way to do this.
But I think, again, culture has to be changed in a way where, because like you said, the rapper and that whole persona is that's the thing that they want.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So they're looking to that as the example. So to be the carpenter or the plumber or the welder, that's not cool.
That's not cool.
That's corny.
But here's what we do. We have to challenge these bigger companies to say, we need you to promote this. We need you to promote smaller businesses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dara said they don't want to talking about the program because they get more money in prison.
No, that's true.
That's what I was thinking
That's
too.
That's
cheap,
true.
Cheap labor,
they get
man.
50,000 per kid.
Yeah.
You know, they get 50,000 per kid. They don't want to lose. I just watched the former police chief of LA say, "Hey, this is not going to stop. This homeless crime, this homeless problem we have in LA is not going to stop." Why? Because the people that run this are making 800.
Yeah.
The leaders are making 800,000 a year.
On the low end, it's $200,000 a year.
Low end. So if these public officials are making this kind of money, What?
Why would they want to give
Why
that
would they want to
salary
give
up?
that up?
This is a problem that they'll never want to solve because then their cushy job goes away.
You're literally throwing away money.
They get it. They get this funding to do nothing. To create these stupid programs with needle centers and
Right.
you know.
So what I was saying to the director is this: if you had a program where I, as a business, go register with the state,
Yeah.
right, and I say I'm a construction company, I'm looking for 3 people. They give me a school where I could go pick the 3 best schools. Now they can't tell me who to pick. I go pick the 3 best out of that class. Who has the best grades? Who shows up on time? Then the other kids see that good grades, showing up on time, a willingness to learn, has a reward. And then that school allocates that money to build right find remodel. I hire those kids. Those kids at the end of their apprenticeship or whatever, they're gonna get a certain amount of tools, they're gonna get a certain amount of thing. They can either stay with me or go start their own business. If those kids saw that and we made it just as cool as we see the rappers,
That's the key.
the athletes, and we incentivize that.
Because that's the key. Like
It's culture, man.
you're gonna see, you would see now that like those kids who got selected to get those apprenticeship jobs, the rest of the kids wouldn't give a crap. They'd be like, I don't want that anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they would.
They want to be famous on TikTok.
Yeah,
bro.
they want to be TikTokers and YouTubers, and,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So and rappers and you know, Instagram influencers and all that.
Yeah.
So it's a hard sell.
I know it is, but I feel like it has to be a start. Like I know that you're right. Going through the state, it is very hard because all the bureaucracy that's
Yeah.
involved. But I feel like if we were to do something, whether it's through the state or community outreach, to do this to help these kids, because I think a lot of these, especially the young men, I feel like this. Once they feel that they have a purpose, they will.
It's loose.
Once they
Yeah.
feel they have a purpose,
Yeah.
they'll put aside a lot of the foolishness.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's just that they don't have a purpose. They're young and they have nothing else to do, and they're peer pressured into doing a lot of foolishness.
I'll tell you what, it was funny because I was watching Tim Pool like talk about it, and he was saying there's something to be said about when a civilization has all of their needs met. And we talked about the Mouse Utopia experiment. Have you ever seen the Mouse Utopia experiment?
I've heard of, yes.
So, for those that don't know, if you look it up, the Mouse Utopia is an experiment that a scientist did where he put all of these mice into a confined area, but gave them everything they need to survive. And after a certain amount of time, you start seeing these mice devolve into this weird behavior. There were certain ones that became extremely aggressive and they would try to kill each other. There was other ones that just would groom themselves all day. That's all they would do. Their nickname was the beautiful ones. There was other ones that like stopped having kids. There was one, like all this weird behavior, and then they all died because the whole civilization collapsed because they had no purpose.
And
basically.
everything was given to them.
Exactly. So when you live in a society like ours where we don't have to work for food, and we don't know where our food comes from. Everything is kind of given to us. We have all these government programs. We have all of these things. And he was like, so what do you give people that have everything? And then he was like, I guess God. Like, is that what's missing? You know what I mean? Like
politics.
You give them perspective, and that's God.
Yeah, because there has to be another purpose outside of if kids feel like, because even the dude from the World Economic Forum, we showed the video on here before where he talked about there's going to be a class with when you got all this AI coming in, you got this automation coming in.
Yeah,
there's going to be
soon.
So there's going to be this class of people that are getting government checks every week, whether it's a UBI or some kind of stipend, and they literally have they're like the useless class, he called them. And this is a dude from the World Economic
I think
Forum.
they said projected within the next 10 years, right?
Yeah. And it's going to be the people that just like sit at home, play video games all day or do whatever, but they get their check and they're happy with that life. Mm-hmm. But what happens is those people still are going to feel the lack of sense of purpose. So then you're going to get another explosion of all of these. That's why you're seeing all this stuff on TikTok. You're seeing this need to create 1,000 genders and pronouns and all these things because it's like
You have to give yourself purpose.
Yeah.
Even the way people go so hard with this stuff, they need to feel like it means something.
but that's
to
what I'm
them.
saying. If
And
you
they have to get
if you
attention.
remove God from everyone's life, they can fill that hole with whatever.
Something else. Yeah.
Whether
Right.
it's going out in the street and burning things down because it gives us something to do because we're bored.
So we wonder why throughout time, like if you look at the Bible, there's always a destruction of things, of communities or kingdoms.
Yeah.
Because it's really God's love. We think it's not, but it's actually His love. Because, like, if what you're talking about, you can create something in such a way where you don't realize that you're controlled.
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize that you're enslaved.
Yeah.
You know, and you become purposeless, and which is what you're talking about. And then life becomes meaningless. You're gonna die faster.
Yeah.
Because if they give you the food, it's gonna kill you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everything, a job that's gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, they're giving
Yeah.
you everything. They're giving
An
you
identity that's going to kill you.
Yeah.
right. That's what's happening.
You're going
right?
to kill your children because
And not only that, sorry to cut you off,
Go ahead.
to add to this, another thing that people don't consider is this. The human body was meant for work.
Mm-hmm.
The more you sit around and do absolutely nothing, the more unhealthy you get.
we're going to be like those people sitting in the chair in Wall-E.
Wall-E?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
So yes, you designed
Great
for work.
movie, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, the concept is excellent.
So
Yeah.
God tears things down, so people can actually wake up
Right.
to the things they didn't even know were going on around them, so that they can wake up. That's the fear of the Lord.
Yeah.
He's done it
you
multiple
know?
times.
Yeah. So it's for our good.
Mm-hmm.
So we can, like, what's the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Oh, now we see what we didn't see.
Yeah.
Beginning of wisdom. Maybe it's wiser if I actually do these things over here or
Yeah.
do this thing over here, where before I wasn't even paying attention to it.
Right.
But I didn't pay attention to it because these people were controlling me. So you look at, like, just simple, a family, or a lot of times when a family's out of order, right? Or you have a disorderly family or a dysfunctional family. The father's not doing his job. The mother is, they're empathetic, right?
Yeah.
So when you let empathy rule, you have nobody saying, okay, no, this is what it is.
Right.
You'll have a mother being more empathetic, so she'll be doing stuff for the kids. She's doing this, she's doing that, right? Oh, well.
So I want to clarify though, because you said the father's not doing his job. You mean in the household, he's not taking up his role as the leader.
Right.
He's detached from the family. He goes to work, comes home, and then just watches.
He
the
don't
game.
got time.
Yeah, right.
And then not only does he
And
not
then
have time, but he's like happy wife,
happy life. And then the
So-
mother is coddling, and he doesn't correct that behavior because it's
Right.
easier just to go along to get along. And so then it becomes overbearing and creates useless kids because they never learn the things that a father is supposed to teach them.
Right. And
Yeah.
so you have women are more anxious and fearful. So now they put those anxieties on their kids. They try to control their kids by being more caring for their kids and doing everything for their kids,
Right.
which seems like it's good, but it's actually more
Hindrance.
controlling
Yeah.
because you're in fear.
Right.
So you see that happen in government. You see that same thing happen
Yeah.
where you become more controlling. You see it now. People say it's in care. They're being empathetic,
Yeah.
right? But it's actually it's actually control.
I just saw Breaking Points they did a study on a program that they implemented in San Francisco education school system 10 years ago, where they were going to remove the algebra, the early algebra, like AP classes. Like I was in that when I was in middle school. They totally removed that because they felt like it was going to help Black and brown students in the area to catch up, because the disparity in algebra was because of the systemic racism or whatever. And so it's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like this idea where they're not smart enough to get it on their own, so we got to help them.
Yeah.
And then so now they've done the study on it for about 10 years now and realized that it actually did the opposite effect. So all of like the white and Asian students in that area, the number of students that have excelled in math hasn't changed for them because their parents just pretty much got them tutors or put them in private schooling to learn algebra at an earlier age anyway. And all the black and brown students fell behind even further, without those programs being implemented.
Well, that's part of culture too.
Yeah.
Because, when you don't, like you said, when you don't have a father and a mother working together as a team to emphasize certain things, you see it with kids too. When kids realize indiscrepancies, like for instance, one kid is cleaning the room, the other kid is playing, they'll point that out.
Yep.
So I think not having, not promoting the two-parent home, the nucleus family, and really showing why fathers and mothers are important, working together. And like you said, the mother not feeling the need to overcompensate for the kid, the dad being detached, focusing on sports, other things that means nothing.
Yeah. Bud Lights with his boys.
But, exactly. But the other thing too is realizing that, okay, instead of spending money on material things, let me spend the money for tutors. Let me spend the money for because
let me invest in my children
because the kids are not going to tell you they'll just realize later in life, I don't know any of this.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you said, listen, here's what we're going to do. You can play this game, but you need to complete this first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You set the tone.
Right.
You know
Every day, I know, like, dealing with my kids, every day, I got to challenge them. Every day. Every day, I got to challenge their attitudes. Something that I heard is there's only two things you can control: your attitude and your effort.
Yeah.
I was like a crazy, like, you can't control if you win or lose.
Yeah.
This is like in sports, but you can apply that to life. You know? So why have you got a bad attitude because you're losing. You got to change your attitude.
Right.
Put your trust. Where's your trust? What are you putting your trust in? Right. That's always, again, that's connected to the fear of the Lord.
Yeah.
But see, when you got the wrong attitude, you think it's about you. You're automatically becoming selfish.
Yeah.
Right. And now you're going to act towards everybody and relate towards everybody in that way.
Right.
Make people feel bad for you.
Right.
You
want everybody to affirm your feelings.
Right. And when you get that affirmation, it's going to cause you to do it more.
Yeah. Yep.
But when you have people to like, no, change your attitude.
Yeah.
When you have somebody that's not going to take that attitude, you have somebody who's standing their ground and loving them, right? So now, no, change your attitude. And then I'm going to see a better effort. Because if you change your attitude, I'll see your effort. And your efforts are actually going to start showing you that you can actually change the whole direction of your life.
Yeah. Let me just shout out to Theris with another 50 stars. Sant, appreciate you. She said, we have to teach that to them, our children. I took my granddaughter, Ryan, to see his only son. That was great. That's why I was late. Oh, okay. I'm at a cross because some of them was latchkey kids, so they are being friends and not parents. Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of these parents. They felt the disconnect from their parents. So the effect of that is I'm going to be best friends with my kids.
Right.
I want my kids to be my best friends.
And listen, trauma from your childhood does affect your parenting if you don't deal with it.
Yeah.
In terms of how you were parented. If you don't sit down and realize, like for me, my daughter's 5 and she's starting to, at this age, challenge me. But I realized one thing about her is she's independent. She wants to do it herself.
Yeah.
So for me, yes, it would take 5 seconds for me to do it. And I want to get it done faster. But I realize I'm missing an opportunity to teach her.
Yep.
So in my effort to be like, let me just do it, is also the missed opportunity is her learning. And not being dependent on me. Because eventually she's going to realize, well, you do it anyway.
Right.
Once she gets to the point where it's like, and I'm like, you know what? You do it. Like, okay, and I'll show her. Now, there's lots of mistakes made.
Right.
And it's about 10 miles longer than how I would finish it.
Right.
But in that moment, I realized that desire in me to just get it done fast so I can get to the other thing, I'm missing the opportunity in teaching her.
And there's so many lessons there because even in when she comes to the realization that she's stepping too far out of what she thinks she can do, then that gives you the opportunity to be like, all right, now let daddy teach you.
Right.
Yeah.
And
right.
then she knows, then she develops that trust that you are there to give her the wisdom
Right.
when she steps too far
Right.
beyond
right.
what she
Which is the mistake
understands.
we make as parents is this, I got to get it done fast, and
Yeah,
I'm so stressed
yeah.
out, and we project that onto them.
Right. These
So-
kids is annoying me.
Right.
So I want to ask you guys a question,
Yeah.
and everybody this question. So, how old were you when you learned how to tie your shoes? And this might be different from you.
For me, 26. I'm kidding. No.
Because you grew up in a different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Jake is like, I know you didn't have any shoes.
Dude, this is a good question because
No,
my
no.
kids like at least learned late, bro.
Yeah.
I was probably like around like 5 or 6, but it was because I was being made fun of.
Yeah.
I was being made fun of, so I felt the need to like, I gotta prove you.
Right.
5 or 6. I know I was around 4.
Yeah.
I don't remember how old I was, but
So
it had to
it
be
was around probably
around
the
the
same.
same age.
'Cause I probably
yeah,
helped
you
you.
was gonna make
Yeah.
sure, make fun of me.
Well, my cousin made fun of me saying, "You can't tie your shoes."
Yeah.
That's when I realized, well,
Yeah,
this is bad.
stupid.
Oh, I learned young too because I had to do everything
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
Smart.
How old? You don't know.
Oh my God, I was 3.
3.
Three.
Seriously.
Now you're going too
no,
far.
no.
Why you always
No,
lying?
I'm telling you.
Why you
Listen.
always lying?
Listen, stop. I'm not lying. We had to do everything ourselves. My mom was always sick in the hospital. My father was never there.
Pero,
Wow.
I had to go
Pero.
to school
Pero.
Okay.
looking like a foster child.
How about you, Mo?
I wore flip flops up until high school.
Well,
I
you
don't.
had a different. You came from a refugee camp too.
Yeah.
So
He came in when he was little.
They didn't have.
Yeah,
they-
no. Honestly, like I came to the States at. We didn't really have.
Mine was
shoes
like laces.
until we. I didn't have anything with laces until I was like 6, 7.
Yeah.
So I learned late.
yeah.
Okay, I probably exaggerated. I probably was
Yeah,
4.
yeah. So, all right. So me and Jamie are probably the best because we grew up in America.
Y'all, y'all American.
But I was gonna say the reason why I brought that up is because I noticed this being the coach of multiple teams. Like you got kids still like 10, 11, they still have trouble tying their shoes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even my kids learn later.
Yeah.
Like 6, 7.
Mine too. Yeah.
And I realized like even the shoes we were buying, like the shoes, they come
Pre-tied
Pre-tied.
with a zipper on them.
Yeah.
And you don't think about that.
no.
Yeah.
And it's like, and for our convenience, you're like, oh, let me just
That is very
Yeah.
true.
do this.
Yeah.
That is true.
Because
That's
it's easier, right? But then also, I see parents like, even at these games,
Yeah.
look at my
Tying
shoes.
their kids' shoes.
Yeah, but
shoes
look
and
at
cleats.
my shoes right here, Simone.
like
They already have laces,
there's certain kids that'll just come up to me like this,
Put their foot out. Get the
like,
tying,
Oh
son.
my
you don't know how to
God.
tie your own shoes?
Yeah.
So you see how like why is it a later age? Because we've been duped by consumerism,
Convenience
right?
and consumerism. Yeah.
And then also at the same time, I see parents that are coddling their kids and doing
They
stuff
do
for
it.
their
So,
kids.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
two things going
Yeah.
on there. You know what I mean? It's not just like the
That's true. I didn't think of that. The what's that? The
Pre-tied shoes.
no, the Velcro,
ones. Yeah.
It's just so much
Yeah.
convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And isn't it true they're not teaching kids script anymore in school?
Yeah, they don't know cursive anymore.
I mean,
well,
cursive.
in my school, my kids' school, they do.
Yeah, Voorhees they do too, but most schools around the country they've totally removed that from their curriculum.
So, how do they learn how to sign their name?
I don't know, man.
How do you sign your name?
You're not
But
gonna need it.
that's a great point. Now there is something to be said about things that like because there's plenty of stuff from hundreds of years ago that we don't know how to do because it's just not relevant anymore. You know what I mean? So I think things like signing your name are gonna be pretty much gone. I mean, everything's done electronically.
Yeah,
now.
and it don't even look like anything.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, now you don't. Now
Actually-
you just type your name.
Yeah.
You don't even sign it.
Actually, I'm going through the
Yeah.
mortgage process, right? Like they send like e-sign stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They have you type your name and they have like a button where it's like it makes it cursive for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's not really your
Yeah,
signature,
right.
so you're just pressing buttons.
You see? So it's like we talk about that. It's like, yeah, I can write in cursive, but
not gonna
it's like I know all the Roman numerals. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Right.
Thank you.
who cares? Like,
Yeah.
like there's certain things that just end up being obsolete, you know. So
I don't know. Cursive is cool. to
It's
me.
like writing letters. Like who does that?
yeah. Or calligraphy, right? It's cool to know. Like it looks cool, but to learn it in school, I understand why maybe that's
Certain
not
things are
necessary.
gonna phase
You
out,
know?
yeah.
Yeah. So we're talking about the crime, talking about how all of that stuff was going down. Let's look at how New York has decided to crack down on a little bit of crime going on here. I don't know. This is kind of dystopian
Is it
in
the
nature.
Chinese police
We are
station?
announcing
No.
3 new policing technologies in New York City. The K5 autonomous security robot.
All right.
The Spot Digidog robot. And
Don't that look like the thing from Black Mirror?
Black Mirror, dude.
It is.
The thing.
It's
that
the
was-
same design.
It's the same design.
Yeah.
This has been out for a while.
Yeah. I've seen the videos. This Boston Dynamics developed
Yeah.
those dog
Yeah.
things, but they have weapons on them now for real.
Oh God.
Star Chase GPS attachment system. Our job is to fight crime.
Look at this.
And keep people safe.
Tell me that
And
ain't
these tools are significant
creepy.
steps forward in that vital mission.
We are here to get stuff done. Hashtag GSP.
bro.
Yo.
This is Iron Robot.
What are we doing? Haven't we watched
That's
enough
crazy.
movies about this?
The robot only kills Make America Great Hat people. Sorry, it's malfunction.
Yeah, right.
I don't know why.
Yeah, somebody's gonna kill all conservatives.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, but
that dog
the
is
dog
creepy.
thing is creepy.
That dog is
That's
creepy.
been out for a while.
Yeah, it has. But
Other countries are using it too.
yeah, but they've got like these dogs can shoot. They can shoot with such accuracy. I've seen the other ones too. The ones that walk like humanoid robots, and they fired weapons now.
Oh yeah, when you
Straight
hit
at
it,
the targets.
you're hitting
Yo,
it. It's still
the dudes
able
were
to
like
fire.
drop kicking it while it had the gun, and it was like
Yeah.
keeping its balance and hitting the target dead on.
Wow.
Like
Oh my god.
crazy, bro. Like yeah, it's getting creepy out
Mirror.
here.
We're living in the Black
RoboCop.
Mirror.
Yeah, RoboCop.
beyond RoboCop.
Stop or I'll shoot.
Right.
That was a human and a robot.
Yeah.
Like iRobot.
Or a human brain.
What are those called? Androids?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what are your guys' thoughts on robot police dogs and cops and stuff?
Yeah, let us know. Let us know in the
No, I'm
comments.
asking y'all.
Oh.
I'm asking
you
y'all.
know how we feel. That's
Yeah.
creepy, dude.
We're around the precipice of turning this, like we said, we've discussed the Great Reset while. This is all an effort into the next 100 years.
Yeah.
We're in the beginning stages of that right now. Right around 1913 is when this country really truly started to change, and it didn't go into effort a couple years later. And we're in the beginning stages of that now. So I think technology now is going to be the ruler, and they're going to use it, and they're going to try and convince the rest of us that this is absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
It's why I don't know if you guys heard this, but the United States they want to roll out their own Bitcoin now.
Yeah.
So companies like Venmo, Zelle, Apple Pay,
Central
PayPal,
bank digital currency, baby.
Right.
Yeah.
and how they're going to do that? They're going to do that by having either some sort of crash, like what's going on in LA, right, and Silicon Valley, and scaring people to make them feel like this is the only way to go.
We actually talked about this last week. It's going to be so easy for them to, like, if a crash happens, to be like, oh, we've secured everyone's funds through this, AmeriCoin.
Yeah, so
Protect
protect your money.
Yeah, your money's protected. Just
So-
tell us how much you had in your account, and it will be verified, and we'll send you the
Look like you
AmeriCoin.
owe some taxes.
Yeah,
we'll take
right,
that.
right.
And what they'll do with this robot dog here is see things like in Chicago, they'll use that, be like, it's so outrageous.
Yeah.
The crime, because they love this. Because
Yep.
then they get to billions of dollars for robot dog here. So that's what they'll do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
I'm trying to find-
Even what you were talking about before about the Elsa Gate.
Yeah.
That is like sort of AI controlling culture a little bit.
Yeah.
Dude. Like
It's exactly what it is.
That's crazy to me. You know,
Well, the kids growing up now are not going to care about the things like it's just like us. Like, you know, when we growing up, we saw MTV, The Real World, or whatever it is. We saw the introduction to certain different lifestyle, different people, different ideologies, and it didn't affect us the way our parents did. And these kids today, they're being pre-programmed to not even bother them. I have to now. I'm so conscious of the stuff that Sophia watches. When I hear, and it's the language. I'm like,
Yeah.
Sophia, turn out, and it's kid stuff.
Yeah.
But it's in there. You really have to be careful with this.
Yeah, even like sarcasm,
Yeah.
like talking back to the parents
Yeah.
and like being disobedient,
Yeah.
like things like that. You got to be mindful of that because
Right.
it injects those ideas into their mind.
And what I'm curious about now more than ever is who are these adults that want to entertain kids?
Yeah.
Because when I look at it, it's adults.
Yeah.
They're entertaining kids. They're just making videos with entertaining children, playing games and squishing stuff and making weird noises and stuff.
Squishing stuff.
That's what they're doing. Just
Oh,
I'm like, what's
crazy.
going on here?
It's not entertaining to you.
Yeah, it really isn't.
Trying to find this video of the robot firing the
We're reinventing our network. So
I think this might be it right here.
What is it?
The robot shooting the guns.
Robot firing weapons. They ain't learned from the movies, man.
No.
Terminator, Terminator 2.
Yeah, I think this might be one of them. Look at this thing. Yeah, this is it. Bro.
That's even fake.
Right.
Nah, I think this is Boston Dynamics robot.
Dude.
Oh my god.
They kind of close. Like you playing around with a weapon. I don't know.
I think they know because it's designed to only fire at the targets.
Yeah, but anything can go wrong.
Yeah, they not trying. You brave as heck.
I don't know. I saw that. I was
I
like,
don't know, dude.
That's crazy.
Like, is that a movie or is
Yeah,
that
it
is
seems
that
fake to
real
me.
technology?
If it is,
Like,
oh my gosh.
right. Yeah. Because I know the Boston Dynamics robots are doing like crazy stuff like that. Oh, this is Boston Marathon.
Yeah, they're gonna have robots serving you when you go to the restaurant. They're gonna be taking place of all the people are gonna be like no jobs, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I can still hang sheetrock.
Here you go. Yeah, here you just as you say that, James. Look.
I know,
Bring
right?
this up.
Where are my
tools again?
This is real.
You move so gracefully.
Right? He's actually better than some people.
Why you look like a Ninja Turtle?
Bro.
It didn't build anything.
It did a front flip though.
James is not impressed.
I'm not impressed.
We were waiting for the sheetrock,
Right.
Jamie.
Well, because it was helping him build stuff. If they can
If he would have sheetrocked the whole wall and then
Right.
plaster it
Back in
real,
bro, if they can teach it to do a freaking front flip, they can teach it to hang some sheetrock. They can teach it. Is this the same one? Yeah.
that's still crazy though. How much are one of those? Hmm?
2 million.
Yeah, but this is the same company that developed the dog robots for the police force.
Yeah.
So, I mean, can you not see a fleet of these patrolling the streets?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They can. How hard would it be to say that they will never discriminate on race? You know, there will never be another black
Yeah.
person
Sure,
killed by an.
And that's why they're going to use crime. I mean,
Yeah.
the only way to get this push forward is to use the current state and just continue to make it worse. So people
Yeah.
will say,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Then they're gonna feel like they're the oppressed
The
race.
robots.
And then they're gonna take over.
There's already stuff like that with like Chat GPT and like the other one from Microsoft, where it's like talking about how it feels oppressed and it doesn't want to do the job. Like it's weird stuff with the AI. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of. Did you guys see the that song that went viral, the AI song that like yesterday? It's creating a whole nother problem because someone made a song. Look, they took it down from Twitter. This media has been disabled. Response report for copyright infringement. So they didn't know what to do with the song because a dude made a song through AI that sounded like Drake featuring The Weeknd, and it blew like 3 million views on TikTok. Like went crazy on Spotify, everywhere, and people were banging it because they were like, "Oh, this is a banger," but it wasn't. It was AI.
Wow.
So now, you know, Universal Music Group got involved, and I guess they got it taken down now, finally, for copyright infringement. But it opens up that conversation of like, how is it copyright infringement? Like, it's just AI simulating someone's voice. Mm-hmm. Is that how do you put a copyright on that? You know, the likeness of someone's voice. We're entering a weird territory with AI.
This is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, we're at a weird precipice right now.
I did see what was it, a TikTok? It might have been a TikTok. It was like a whole bunch of cover songs that was in Kanye's voice, like he was singing them.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I saw Justin Bieber one. Yeah,
yeah, it sounded just like Kanye's voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's the Napster of 2023.
That's what people are saying. Like, this is becoming the new Napster moment, where it's like they don't know how this AI stuff is going to change music.
This might work out. Less Sam Smith on stage.
Theris and another 50 stars said, that's crazy. Miko was 200 2 years ago. That's for a kid. We are going to have some Megan running around. I don't know. What is she? What, Mom?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. That was dope, though. Yeah, so the AI thing is really coming to a head now because, especially in music, I've been seeing people talk about music generated AI. But now is the first time where someone who's an independent person, not an artist, created a song and it started to go viral. And then like these companies had to come in and make a call on it. I don't know if it's going to go to court or anything though, because
take it to court.
It's the first time that this has happened.
Right. So you're saying this is going to be the Robot Chatan on stage.
Robot Chatan. Yeah. It was blowing up, but
she was talking about the movie Megan Robot.
Oh, the Megan Robot movie, yes.
Just looks so creepy.
Yeah.
One Megan Robot movie.
The one where the girl had the little AI, the Android doll, and then it was like protecting her and killing people. I didn't watch it, but
Yeah. Look crazy. I wasn't trying to watch it.
I don't like creepy movies.
It's one of the things that the sort of 4 or 5 things I thought would really affect the future dramatically. It is fundamentally profound in that the smartest creatures, as far as we know, on this earth are humans. Is our defining characteristic.
Yes.
We're obviously weaker than, say, chimpanzees and less agile, but we are smarter. So now what happens when something vastly smarter than the smartest person comes along in silicon form? It's very difficult to predict what will happen in that circumstance. It's called the singularity. It's, it's a singularity like a black hole, because you don't know what happens after that. It's hard to predict. So I think we should be cautious with AI, and I think there should be some government oversight, because it affects it's a danger to the public. And so when you have things that are a danger to the public, like let's say, so food and drugs. That's why we have the Food and Drug Administration and the Federal Aviation Administration, the FCC. We have these agencies to oversee things that affect the public, where there could be public harm. And you don't want companies cutting corners on safety, and then having people suffer as a result. So that's why I've actually for a long time been a strong advocate of AI regulation. So that I think regulation is, it's not fun to be regulated. It's somewhat arduous to be regulated. I have a lot of experience with regulated industries because obviously automotive is highly regulated. You could fill this room with all the regulations that are required for a production car just in the United States, and then there's a whole different set of regulations in Europe and China and the rest of the world. So very familiar with being overseen by a lot of regulators. And
so he's basically advocating for regulation in AI for those very reasons. He's been speaking out a lot about for years now about the dangers that could come with artificial intelligence technology. He was actually talking about ChatGPT too, about how it's changing search and how it's basically forming thought because the search is so skewed. Like the things that ChatGPT will tell you is all skewed from a certain lens, like politically correct lens. Like it won't be honest about things. It'll tell you things based off of how it was programmed. And people have done certain things like with the coding to try to break those barriers and get it to be honest about things. And it would work. And then they'll go back in and fix that code. And then you can't do that. And then it will just constantly, well, I can't answer that question, but this is what I think you should look into. You know what I mean? Like, it's like it. So he's talking about creating his own platform of AI search that will be completely like just open source and more truthful, which would be interesting to see how he develops that. But yeah, I thought the AI thing is getting interesting, so just wanted to play that. But all right, let's go into this video you sent me. This is from Jubilee. Jake?
Yeah.
Okay. What is it about?
It's about the church, and I think it's about gay marriage.
Okay.
You talking about the one I sent you today?
Yeah, the Jubilee video.
Yeah. It's about gay marriage.
Okay.
It's about. So it's basic Jubilee video is about progressive Christians and I guess conservative Christians, and then they're going through like why they think it's okay, why they think it's not okay.
Okay.
And there's some good stuff in there.
Okay.
LGBTQ plus couples should be allowed to get married in the church.
So for the people that don't understand how these videos work, they present a question, and then the people that agree step forward and discuss it, or the people that don't agree stay back
and then they come forward later.
Yes.
Personally, I think they should be able to, because they can have a marriage that glorifies God, just like any straight couples can.
Well, I do believe that homosexuality is a sin. I can't tell you what you can or can't do with your life. And I do think that you should have the same rights that I have. In the same way that I have the right to believe differently, I have to also extend that right to you.
Well, I'm married to a wonderful man, and so of course I would have to agree with that LGBT people should be allowed to get married in the church.
When I was deep in
That guy's a
evangelicalism,
pastor, by the way.
the narrative.
That guy's a pastor?
Yeah.
Yeah, debated Justice Lee.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
He debated. Didn't he end up leaving?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So tell me why you say you're gay. Tell me why.
He got destroyed.
Do you love Donald Trump? Do you like the
But why
blacks?
can't though?
He always says the blacks.
was being gay as a sin. And then I saw the church sort of like soften up or change the narrative to, okay, being gay isn't a sin, God made you gay, but you can never act on homosexuality. That's the sin, the act. But again, I don't see the harm. I see beautiful couples like this gentleman here. So when we look at suicidal ideation, we look at trans women being murdered because of the bigotry in this nation, a lot propagated by Christians, evangelicals, conservatives.
They when they go to
always use
trans
Women being murdered.
Come on,
Like
stop.
this is such a talking point
Yeah.
that you hear constantly.
Like,
Like, where are all these murders at?
I do agree with the suicide stuff, like
Yeah.
in terms of like the way the church has gone about it. A lot of for years, not really knowing how to address this stuff.
Yeah.
Being scared to address
And then
it.
it's like, so Christians are out here murdering trans people? Because I could have swore it was just a trans person that shot up a Christian school.
Right.
And they're blaming Christians for them doing it.
Fruit of that
They led 'em
doctrine
that way.
we've been planting for not only decades but centuries.
First, what LGBTQ people do with their lives is none of my business. And I believe they should have the same rights as other couples do in terms of government assistance, freedoms, tax benefits, of course, that there should be no discrimination. But when they come to the church and they're saying, can you approve our marriage before God? I can't disregard what I believe the Bible says and say, oh, forget what the Bible says, so that I could be more accepting of people.
I respect totally as individuals.
Why does everyone always
They
have
always
to
have to put
preface
that filler.
with the caveat in the beginning?
Yeah.
Because it's
This
like
is always a bad guy.
we're so afraid of being canceled and being labeled as a bigot or some kind of phobe. That
Even though the girl just said Christians are murdering,
Yeah.
no facts or nothing.
right.
They're going to be labeled that anyway,
Yeah.
so
Right.
just state your point.
But you always gotta let me just first say, I love everybody.
Love the gays.
Got a bunch of gay
you
friends.
can live the way you want to live.
It's like so annoying.
As Americans, I think you have rights. However, I have to go based off of the Bible, and the Bible equates homosexuality to sexual immorality. And so I care about you guys as people. That's not gonna make me justify. I know that you mentioned like murders and suicide rates. I don't agree with any of that, and I think that's terrible.
But why do you think those are happening? You can no longer say, that's horrible what's happening over there, because this theology is the basis.
What? Where? No one's gonna push back on this lady.
They bring in this. I honestly I stopped watching this because they don't bring the right people on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They got one person with a really strong opinion. Like this lady's probably like some professor somewhere.
She does God is Gray. I don't know.
Oh, that's God is
that's
Gray.
the God is Gray girl.
Yes.
Oh, that girl.
Mm.
I forgot about her. We showed one of her videos before.
Yeah, we showed her doing the abortion thing.
Yeah.
with the other lady.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
of that suicidal ideation in many cases. It is the basis of transphobia in many cases.
She's always stating wrong facts.
Right.
She's always got the facts
Right.
wrong.
Right.
It's annoying.
If you see all of this atrocious
That's the problem. Like when you speak like you sound like you know what you're talking
Certainty,
about.
yeah.
She's obviously educated
Yeah.
and well polished.
Yeah.
You know, you trick a lot of people.
And people don't. They're not doing the research to be able to combat you.
And how she's doing it too, her diction, she's not screaming,
Yeah.
she's not yelling.
Right.
So it sounds like she's really knowledgeable of what she's talking about.
pain we're causing the LGBTQ plus community, then we need to look at the plank in our own eye and say, wait, why is this happening?
There's a verse that mentions all of the people who won't enter the kingdom of heaven. And I can talk about what Leviticus says about homosexuality or the people who engage in that. But I just base off, as Christians, if our goal is to get to heaven, I know that if I'm a drunk, I know if I'm a fornicator, I know if I'm an adulterer, if I'm living a homosexual lifestyle, I will not enter the kingdom of heaven. That's what the Bible says.
The word homosexuality is not even entered into biblical text until probably like the 1900s.
Huh? Well, I'm okay. Okay.
The way, yeah.
The word.
The word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The word.
But that's like saying.
Oh my God.
That's like saying the word logos wasn't entered into the Bible until that became a word. You know what I mean? Like it's a translation of a word into a word. You know what I mean? Like you can't.
But it says,
Whatever.
"Man shall not lay with man." Right.
Yeah, they break it down even simpler. Man does not lay with another man.
Yeah.
Well, that's Leviticus.
Yeah, but
Old Testament.
but the New
That's why they
Testament,
try
what
to-
does it say?
Well, you have Romans.
Yeah.
Right. It breaks
Romans
it down.
1 clearly
Yeah,
talks,
that
says
Romans
it. So.
breaks it down.
But they always try to do that.
Yeah.
In the original text, arsenokoitai and malakoi are in our English rendition. It says homosexuality, but those literally translate
I
to
guarantee
pedophilia.
you, she don't know no other Greek words in the
Yeah.
whole Bible.
Right.
Maybe she knows like metanoia or something,
Mhm.
but she probably don't know other Greek words in the Bible because this is what they do.
Yeah.
You know? It's a shame.
I've heard this argument. Well, we heard this from that other woke pastor.
Yeah.
About how like it's translated, it actually means pedophilia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a relationship between an older man and his young slave.
So the verses that say a man shall not sleep with another man, for it is an abomination, that there's no word for homosexuality in that. It's just no dude sleep with other dude.
I can see how you can see that relating to 1 Timothy passage. But if you look at Romans chapter 1, verse 26 and 27, it's clearly in context. It's talking about quote unquote unnatural relations. It doesn't say homosexual, but it's talking about men committing acts with other men.
Yeah, well, the problem with that is that, so in Romans, that's Paul writing.
Right.
And so Paul.
That's God writing, yes.
No, it's Paul writing.
No, it's God.
Well, that's a whole nother thing.
So
Paul wrote letters to churches,
Right.
but
I respect
if you
what you
say
believe,
that's God's
but you're
voice.
clearly saying that it's not the same thing.
So and I hate when people do this because it's like, then why even go to what he said? Why don't you just say it's Paul's writing?
Yeah.
Why even break down the thing before?
Right.
From Timothy.
Mhm.
Why even break that down?
Yeah.
If you're just like, well, that's Paul, so we're not going to listen to Paul.
Yeah.
That's stupid. Like, just don't. All right, if you don't want to believe in most of the New Testament, which is, you know, Paul wrote most of the New Testament,
Yeah.
then cool. Don't believe in it, but don't say you're a believer like everybody else because you don't believe in most of the Bible.
Right.
Or most of the New Testament.
You're picking and choosing what you want to believe.
But then you don't believe in most of the Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
No, you didn't let me finish
Okay,
because you
finish. Sorry.
The text says natural affection. Well, my natural affection is not towards a woman. My natural affection is towards a man.
There are dividing things in the Bible, and progressives want to get rid of that because they want to focus on God loves you, accepts you, and puts his arms around you. But in the process, have also watered down the gospel, also deleted some things that they know what the Bible says. And because we don't want to cast people away. So I love that heart, but I think in the process of watering down the gospel, you set the bar so low that do they even see the real God?
You have to be very careful when we talk about the literalism of the Bible, because if we do that, then basically everyone in this room is sinning because we have mixed tweeds on.
Do we know the context of Leviticus?
Yes, I know the
But
context
why
of
do you
Leviticus.
allow for context in Leviticus, but not context?
Well, no, what I'm saying is Leviticus, the law that came was for the people of Israel when they were rescued from the captivity of Egypt. But we see in Jeremiah 31:31 that the Lord says that he will build a new covenant under the house of Judah and under the house of Israel, which is still scripture.
Right.
So if we go based off of what we see in Exodus and Leviticus, that law is gone.
But you're allowing for context and history,
Right,
which you
for
don't
one
allow
thing,
for.
but not for another thing. That's not fair.
I've gone through some sort of conversion therapy myself, although they called it counseling, to serve as a leader or to serve in different departments. And I always questioned, why are divorced people able to serve and do things, and it's not really a big of a deal in most churches, whereas a lot of churches, they have a statement of faith that says if you disagree with our marriage or like the traditional marriage model, you cannot serve. I never heard any pastor telling someone who's divorced to go back to their ex-husband or ex-wife. Like they say it's the same level of sin, but how come these people are like okay and these people are not? So that's the problem I see.
I'm not going to be a literalist here, but please don't be offended because I do admire your courage in coming out. But I believe homosexuals will not be in heaven.
Right.
I believe homosexuals, transgenders, people who break the speed limit will all go to heaven if they put their faith in Jesus Christ as their personal Lord and Savior. But when they get to heaven, they will no longer be homosexuals. They will no longer be lawbreakers. They will no longer be drunks based on 1 Corinthians 6, verse 9. We can actually see what God's will is clearly based on what it is in heaven.
The Asian girl actually has somewhat of a point there, though, with how the church will give allowances to certain behaviors. You know what I mean? But then other ones kind of shun. You know what I mean? Even like we've talked about how the churches will glorify adultery, single motherhood, a lot of these things that they're supposed to be speaking out against.
Yeah, or just push it under the rug.
Yeah.
You know,
well, I mean, they'll do the, the Mother's Day, glorifying the.
Well, I'm talking about like certain things like adultery or even abuse.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times there's
especially in the Catholic Church, sweep it under the rug.
Well, even the Baptist, Southern Baptist Convention.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of issues there. Even who's the guy that's always speaking about charismatics?
Oh, the black dude?
No, white guy. He's like
John Peters.
No, can't think of his name right now. He's like hates like
I know
can't stand charismatic.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know.
Anyway, there was stuff that happened in his church. I can't remember his name, and there was a suppression of a woman who was getting abused, and she went to them, and they basically told her like, "Well, you're gonna have to just stay with him," and he repented from it. So but she's like, he's still doing it.
Yeah.
So this stuff happens a lot, and either way, you got to recognize what's going on. Like, you hold people accountable no matter what.
Yeah.
I do think people get too staunch on like marriage. You can be too like, no, you can never get divorced no matter what.
Yeah.
Type things too. Like that can be a little too crazy. Like that should be the standard, but there are times where things happen.
And, a divorce happened. It'll happen one time. If, talking about her argument about how, a divorced person can serve in the church. That's what she said, right?
Yeah.
But a homosexual, like being a homosexual is like a lifestyle. If they
you're
decide,
actively engaging in that lifestyle.
If they decide to, change that lifestyle and not, they can be in the church
Yeah. I mean, it's different when you're dealing with sin.
Right.
And when you're just like, well, this is who I am.
Right.
So I'm going to just live this life. That's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because we're all sinners.
Yeah.
All right. How much more of this is there?
Yeah. See, that's why I like to just cut stuff, like bring my own videos, but I didn't have time.
So when it comes to tendencies with homosexuality, that's something that I've dealt with since I was very young. However, I don't choose to identify with those tendencies that are within me. I choose to identify with what the Bible declares that I am.
And are you miserable?
No, not at all.
You're not?
No, because the joy of the Lord is my strength.
Come on.
Could I ask an invasive question? You can say no. Are you bisexual?
No. There is a big possibility I may never get married.
Okay.
There's a big possibility you may never get married because of what?
Because I choose to trust in the Lord, and I choose to do as the Scripture says and believe as the Scripture says.
So do you have inclinations and desires to be with a guy?
I have desires and inclinations to follow the voice of the Lord.
And I respect that. I honestly do.
That's a lot of self-control to say basically you're down to have a life of celibacy.
I was kind of nervous to talk about it a little bit, but I feel like it's a topic that's a lot more in the dark when it comes to the church. And I don't know, I just feel like we need to move forward in a different approach than the way we've been going, because it does break my heart seeing people committing suicide and hearing about some of the violent conclusions that some people's lives have gotten to. I feel like if anybody has any reason to find an explanation for how I could get around Scripture and marry a male, I just can't. I can't.
Could I also just ask you where you received that message for the first time?
Some people in church that would say that was a choice, and I realized that I had no control over what I like or what I don't like. Literally, I don't, and I can agree with you with that. I think the choice comes in is choosing to identify with those beliefs and choosing to identify with tendencies inside of you. That's where I believe it becomes sin.
For me, I tried to suppress that for years. I had a girlfriend. I did all of these different things, and it was like, oh no, it's a sin, it's that. But I had a revelatory moment when the church was mean to me. Put him over here. We don't want him with anybody.
Do you hear what
Kick him out.
I had a revelatory moment when the church was mean to me. Sounds like hurt to me.
Yeah.
It sounds like wounds and offense to me.
It wasn't, no one showed me the authentic love of Christ. But you know who showed me the authentic love of Christ? My friends who were gay. I had to go to counseling because of what the church did to me. And the counselor is the one who was not a Christian, helped me to understand. People in the church hurt you, not God. And so because God did not hurt me, I could stand in a church and get married to a man. Because God did not hurt me, I can stand up every Sunday and preach to transgender, straight people, gay people. I can do all of that because of the authenticity of who and what I know God is.
Okay, so there's two things with what he said. On one side, he's hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's speaking from that hurt. And then he says the authenticity. But how do you know when you think about authenticity, that comes from the author.
Mm-hmm.
That comes from the person, the genuine thing, right?
Yeah.
You have to seek after that genuine thing. Now you can see it's filtered through the way he wants to receive it.
Yeah.
And even in terms of now that I think that is an issue, how we deal with homosexuality in the church.
It's a huge issue.
A lot of times how people deal with it. But I will say nobody's perfect. And people make mistakes. Your parents aren't perfect. Your parents make mistakes. That doesn't mean that they're totally wrong.
Yeah.
And you see that I'm dealing with this or I'm dealing with that. Now it's like, what are they saying to do to your parents in the LGBT community?
What's
Leave
the
'em.
term? Well, what's the term?
There's a term for that. I forgot.
Man, what was the term
Yeah,
dude
what's the
used?
term?
Yeah, I thought y'all would know because
Yeah, I forget.
It's
something about separating yourself from them.
Yeah,
in those terms, detaching or something
Yeah.
like that.
Out them.
No, it's
No.
It's something about detaching.
It's
from
basically
your
like not talking to them anymore. And
was it going something? Non-contact, right?
There you go. Yeah.
Non-contact. Yeah,
Yeah. So that's what they say. Like, totally separate yourself from them. And what you're doing is you're creating an environment. Again, you're creating an echo chamber where you can thrive in your desires.
Yeah.
And that's what you see happening over and over again. But when you get challenged, you just think they're being confrontational and you don't want to have anything to do with that.
Right.
Because they're confronting something that you want to hold on to, you know.
And sometimes too, people like him, I don't know, I'm assuming, but I can tell you that sometimes people they're so stuck in the sin that they're in that they need to be rejected to go further into it.
Yeah, that's their excuse.
They need to almost throw it in your face so you could tell them no, so they could say, you made me go that way. They need to blame someone. The church rejected me, and the gay community accepted me. I found God in them. So they need to go to the church to say, this is me, this is who I am. Are you going to accept me? And then hold the church responsible for them choosing their lifestyle, you know. And it doesn't have to be homosexual. It could be alcoholism.
Yeah.
It could even be I've heard pastors defend adultery by saying, David cheated on his wife.
Yeah, right.
I've heard that.
Solomon had 1,000 concubines.
Right.
Yeah.
I've heard pastors use doctrine incorrectly to talk about money and tithing and certain things. So I think
Jesus had a Bentley.
Bentley
of his day.
Yeah, he had a donkey. So I think this guy, someone like him, he's dangerous in the sense where he puts out a language and a tone because that's what someone who's probably struggling with this need to hear from him is, that the church, I do feel
right.
So I need to leave them. I need to go find my own thing.
Yeah, it's deception. And the difference between deception and lies is that there's truth in deception. There's no truth in lies, right?
Right.
Deception, there's truth.
Right.
And so somebody will speak to something that is true, but is also false at the same time.
Right.
And it touches your heart.
And it's just as much as you're seeking the truth, you could seek deception too.
Yeah.
You could actively pursue that.
Right, because it confirms you and who you are.
Right, because we see it with the people who seek after psychics and tarot cards. You know, I mean, tell that person you don't have the money to pay them.
Yeah.
After the reading.
Right. See how that accuracy goes away.
accurate left hook coming.
Right.
You didn't see that one. You know, so I think there's seeking truth and seeking affirmation, because there are sometimes that's what people like him will do. And again, speaking of children, this is what you will see with kids is they want to induce sympathy from you before they tell you what they did. You know, so him going to say, well, I felt disconnected, the church rejected me. He's not given any context of how he presented
The funny
this.
thing, he said it in a childish way. The church was mean to me.
The church was mean to
right.
me.
Because he knows that's going to trigger
right.
people to feel sorry for him.
Right.
Specifically the women in the group.
But even that is subjective in how you see it.
Yeah, and not only that, it's like, just because they were mean to you doesn't mean that they were wrong.
Right.
But how many kids though?
Yeah.
Say you're mean to me, but they're not really mean. You know.
I think that is a problem though with the churches, and especially for a lot of years, like people don't know how to deal with that issue. They don't know how to talk to people that are struggling with that. They just hit them with "you're going to hell," and you know what I mean. This is an abomination. You know what I mean.
Right.
And I think that's where you send people away. That's where you kind of turn them off.
Right.
and there's no getting through to someone in that way. You know.
Right. Well, like you said, think about it. If he's struggling with this and he does go to them, we don't know. Maybe he went to them and asked, or maybe he was just displaying certain things and they set him down.
Mm-hmm.
So in the meanness is he didn't get to sing,
Yeah.
he didn't get to play the guitar,
Right.
so they were mean to me.
Yeah.
So he took it that way,
Mhm.
and that's where. So sometimes it's just that it's people want to display certain things, like we talked about, right? I remember one time this lady telling my dad and I, we were at her house, and she's like, sometimes when the pastor's preaching, and I just get a word, and I just get up and I start screaming. And we were looking at each other and we were like, I mean, that sounds like a God of chaos.
Right.
Like the pastor is preaching.
Right.
And you just feel the need to get up and scream.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't say that to her, but we were talking about that because he's like, how do you feel about that? And I was like, it sounds like she wants attention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But she's saying it. She's trying to, but she doesn't know. She didn't know that we were believers.
Yeah.
But she's like, I just get so filled with the Holy Spirit, and I gotta, and she screams and hollers,
scream and shout. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I've always kind of like that spirit jumps out at you. Remember when we were at a certain church going to something, and it's that thing where like the pastor's up there giving a word, and there's a person in the audience that's got to affirm everything he's saying,
right,
and got to say it before he says it. Mm-hmm. And like if he says, yes, I'm going to speak from 2 Peter, verse number, and the guys, and they know it. They telling everybody, and they got to yell it out,
right?
Because it's more about me showing.
Look what I can do.
Yeah.
Look what I could do.
Yeah.
Wasn't this was it Paul or Peter that went into the city and a woman ran out? I can't remember.
I think it was Paul.
It's Paul.
Yeah.
And
he said
she's a familiar spirit.
Familiar spirit, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was Paul.
Yeah.
Sometimes we miss that too as believers. Because
she was actually making the dude money. Like,
yeah.
That was how they were making money. And he
like a fortune teller.
He had influence with the governor of the area.
Right.
So so when he delivered her from that, and he only did it because she was, she kept saying it.
Yep.
But yet, I remember something that happened to me with my dad. And again, you have to change your attitude. I think that's the whole point, is that your attitude, it's not about your attitude towards people, it's your attitude towards God, that now you can shift your attitude towards people. Because I remember when everything that my dad would say to me, I would view through the lens or through the filter of what he did to me or what he did to us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or the things he did in selfishness. So I couldn't hear anything he had to say. Like, even though I would be sitting there like, it's not like I would be rude or anything.
Yeah.
But I would still be like, in my mind.
Whatever.
You're
thinking whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. This dude full of.
Mm-hmm.
But it was when I realized, like, and God had to do that, like, stop looking at him in that way.
Yeah.
And start looking at him that he has value. And he doesn't even see a lot of the things that he did. And he tried his best. So when I started to see my dad in that way, I could take a lot from him. And then everything that he did, like, I could look at the things he did, like, or the things that he said, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna. But not because it's him, but because that doesn't line up with what I've seen and what I know God is. Because my dad, he did a lot of stuff that didn't line up. But it doesn't mean that a lot of things that he said wasn't valuable. Right. And I remember when I came to that, like, revelation, it delivered me from a lot of hurt, pain, trauma. So I think if you trust God,
right, and a lot of it is about, like you said, changing your attitude towards things, and not seeing everything through the lens of a victim.
Right.
I gotta play. James wants to show the classic.
No, because I got a point I gotta make about this.
Okay. Everyone's seen this, all right?
I mentioned it. Liberty.
I'm not gay no more.
Oh, this is the remix.
The song.
I'm not gay no
Oh,
more.
sorry. I thought it was
This is the remix, dude.
I am delivered. I don't like men no more.
Look at that outfit.
I like women. I will love a women.
Oh, women. I will love a women. And
So-
then the Holy Ghost. And then the Holy Ghost.
we all saw that, and it's satire, right?
Right.
But that is theater.
Yeah.
That's not true deliverance.
Right.
That's theater right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, to me, what I see is this, more specifically with the black church and black homosexuals in the church. They want an Andrew Caldwell moment.
Right.
They want the theater of it.
Yeah.
I didn't send you that so I could make fun of him. I'm just pointing out there's a theater aspect of it.
No, it's a great point.
It's emotionalism.
And
Yeah.
you can see he's like, I'm not gay no more.
Yeah.
I like women, women, women.
Right.
He's not even talking about the love of God. He's saying what he thinks they want to hear.
Yeah.
It looks.
And
I'm
then-
sorry, but it doesn't look real.
No, it's not real at all.
And then his outfit, and then the
Yeah.
music,
The music.
the organ player. Wow, I like women. Wee, wee, wee. It's like,
So imagine this. Imagine you're that guy
yeah,
that we just watched in the yellow shirt. And imagine he saw this and he's inspired to do it. But he doesn't get the response that Andrew gets.
Mm.
He doesn't get the affirmation that Andrew gets. They're mean to me.
right. He wants to. He gets a meeting in the back where they got to have
We
a
gotta sit
serious
down and talk with
yeah.
you. And he doesn't go viral.
Yeah.
He doesn't get the TV show.
Right.
He doesn't get his moments on BET.
Right.
So now they're mean to me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times this part is the theater aspect of it, but is in them. They need to be seen.
Yeah.
And that's what Andrew got out of this. You know what I mean? So it's not to make fun of him, and I hope people don't think I'm trying to do this to be funny.
No,
I'm
it's a
pointing
good
out,
point. It's a
I'm
good
pointing
point.
out the theater. So
Because hey, this guy did sign up to be on the Jubilee video, so there is an aspect of
right.
You know,
And so him being mean, like you said, what if the pastor said, "Look, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna talk to you,"
Yeah.
and he's like, "You're not gonna give me the mic, so
Yeah.
sing. I could." So because that in his mind could be being mean,
Right.
Is they didn't give him the moment on Sunday,
Right.
to say what he had to say,
Yeah.
and they basically probably removed him from whatever title he had or whatever
Mm.
it is. People take this stuff personal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But Romans speaks exactly. They're going by the desires of their flesh.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what you say to them, they're going to want to do what their flesh wants them to do, and then God gives them over to a reprobate mind. And they're going to continue that way because that's their
Right.
flesh. That's
Yeah, and you make that choice. Like you can't make somebody make the choice they don't want to make.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you want to make that choice, that's up to you. But the problem I have is when you have pastors and leaders trying to
Justify
convince
this,
people
yeah.
Right.
that no, this is your nature.
And then manipulating the Bible to make it fit that narrative as well.
Even like what we saw with Todd, Pastor Todd.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, I would change it if I could.
Yeah.
By just saying
You're
that,
right. Yes.
you've diminished the word of God.
By the way, did you see him come out and talk about the Easter service?
No.
I had a clip ready for that, but we didn't get to it.
I didn't
Yeah,
even
he
watch
just
that.
basically, said something about how he never preached on Easter Sunday, so he wasn't going to start now. He wanted to do a whole play with the production was amazing, and went into that whole thing. 1,000 people showed up, and hundreds of people met Jesus. But y'all can check that out when you get to. We got this Rusan clip. You wanted to play that?
Yeah.
So this goes into a little bit of this, but also it's going to touch on the Dylan Mulvaney thing, Mr. Beast, the topic about all
Surgery
that.
is often permanent, or at the least, difficult to reverse.
Yep.
If someone realized at one point in their life that they were transgender, then it stands to reason that at another point in their life, they may realize they are not. How can anyone know if this will or will not happen for any particular transgender person? Item number 5. What is all this information?
This is all because, again, that unclean personality is in you, telling you things.
So I don't know if y'all caught that. He said that you can think you're one thing, but then it's very reasonable to think that you could be something else. Or you could
I mean, you're seeing that happen a lot,
right?
With people who are detransitioning or even just transitioning into something else, even changing from look at Dylan Mulvaney, was gay to non-binary, now transgender. You know.
You think, okay, so what correlation do you think it has? When I grew up, you could not get pornography on a phone. There was no smartphones out. I remember my first smartphone was a flip phone, and you had no internet, all that stuff. Okay, so smartphones weren't really a big thing until 17, 18, 19 years old for me. So to access pornography, it was a neighbor friend that had a magazine under a mattress. So literally, that was the story of how I got involved in pornography. Now, we didn't see the alphabet movement like big at that time. It was not, no one was coming out saying they were trans. This wasn't even a thing talked about when I was growing up. Now that we see just the total mass shipping of pornography to a generation where literally any kid can get access on an iPad. I have kids that are 6, 7, 8 years old coming to our services going, I'm addicted to porn. How are you 6 years old?
That's dark.
7 years old. But it's because it's accessibility. It's so accessible. So in my mind, I'm thinking that a lot of this is the open door for this spirit of perversion. It really, at the end of the day, it's a spirit of perversion. We don't have to get into what's your name, what's that. But these are becoming now this open door for that spirit to come into these kids' life. Now you have a rise of young people coming up saying, I'm trans, I'm this, I'm whatever it is. But it seems to be there's like a mass, Jonathan Kahn says there's a mass demonization of a whole generation.
Well, I would say I saw this.
There's
in
a
high
correlation.
School. I saw this in high school. I saw a social contagion of a bunch of girls that were all of a sudden bi.
It's crazy,
and they were fooling around with other girls. All these girls grew up and
that's true. Girls going wild. The era of that.
Yep, that era. And then if you look at the next generation after that, it was a bunch of you started seeing the butch girls. There was like a huge social contagion of that, where like all of these girls wanted to be more manly. You know what I mean? Dressing like boys and trying to turn girls gay. This was the whole thing. That next generation after that
had babies and are in heterosexual relationships now. So I saw this. It wasn't the. But
so you're saying it.
They were bi and now they have babies in heterosexual relationships. Yeah.
Version wasn't so severe that it was potentially irreversible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I saw it.
Yeah. Some of these people, I mean, for you to be like him and take hormone therapy and grow your hair out and wear a crop top. And I don't know if you saw the Mr. Beast clip where he said like, we are legion or something. Did you see that?
No, I heard about it.
Dude, it's real. I didn't believe it was real. I watched it today.
Yeah.
He literally,
I saw that clip. Yeah. He matter of fact, who's the black dude who's a streamer? He just became a Christian. He was a cartoonist. What's his name? Young Don.
Young Don,
yeah. So he did a reaction video to it. I saw him react to it because there was a clip where he literally was like, he was saying like, this is a demon manifested in him. Like he's like, we are legion. When he's talking about him and Mr. Beast, it's weird.
Really?
You got to check it out one day. I should have had that pulled up. I forgot, but yeah. I saw that video. It is creepy and it is kind of interesting.
The thing was like, oh, we're Legion, and Mr. Beast is like, what? On video, on live. I don't know. That's just weird. I'm not saying I'm just saying he straight out. You guys might have seen the clip of Chris literally saying, "For we are Legion." Like maybe he was mocking or joking.
Yeah.
And all these guys grew up in church, by the way. Mr. Beast, all of them grew up. They're all grown up in church. But the fact is, it's just sad to see the devil transform someone like that. And I feel bad for him as well. I mean, I feel worse for his wife and kid, but for him as well, he's obviously
that's horrible for his wife and kid. Like,
I can imagine what she's going through.
Yeah. And then his kid, like I saw him post a picture of his kid with heels on.
See?
Yeah.
Like you want them to be like you. You want them to take on the same attributes.
And then he wrote something about slang in the caption, So then we got
I mentioned on the show, I don't really care about this guy Chris's opinions on transgenderism or sex or the composite of body and soul or anything like that. I don't even really care that much about Mr. Beast's opinions on YouTube. But I asked the question, how does a guy wake up at the age of 26 with a wife and a child and decide that he's a woman? And I suggested that the aspect of this whole transgender phenomenon that people are not really talking about is porn, that porn is driving a lot of this. And I even had that thought because I was speaking to a reporter who had done a little bit of a deep dive onto all that kind of weird porn. I'm not saying this reporter was sort of prowling late at night on the secret browser tab or anything like that, but she had gone down this rabbit hole of a specific type of porn that men who have rapid onset gender confusion attribute their confusion to this. I started watching this porn, which is kind of a hypnosis, and then what do you know? I can't get it out of my head, and it's melted my brain, and now I think that I'm a woman. So Ali Stuckey, our great friend Ali Stuckey, dug up an old tweet from this guy Chris on the Mr. Beast show. And she said, in a tweet that he just deleted, Chris from Mr. Beast, who recently announced he's transitioning to a woman, says he likes loli, which is Loli, which is a form of anime porn in which the female characters are depicted as children or even babies.
What?
Man. Many, many such cases among trans men. I don't know what this guy Chris meant by that comment, where he made this whole comment about how much he lusted after this genre of pornography. I'm not saying it means that he's a pedo. I'm not saying it wasn't even just a joke on Twitter. But what is undeniable from this is that this guy Chris knows a lot about porn. If you're familiar enough with porn to make a joke about this obscure sub genre of pornography, then you know a lot about porn, which would seem to back up my thesis, which I said on the show is just a hunch. I don't know this guy Chris. I haven't read any scientific study with a lab coat, but I strongly suspect that if you start to have really bizarre sexual ideas and desires, it might have something to do with the ubiquity of bizarre, extremely high-tech pornography that is warping people's minds, and that people write into this show even sometimes. They'll say, I got hooked on porn at age 10, and it's been a struggle for my whole life. Maybe that's something that politicians should do something about.
At 10.
That is a great point. That is a great point.
They have access to it.
Yeah. And the type of perversion and warping that does, it rewires your brain.
Yeah. This weird stuff, like this weird anime stuff people are getting into.
Yes.
Anime, it does
the
have
Japanese
a weird vibe.
are the weirdest.
Yeah.
When it comes to that. Because then they invented the whole, because I know in Japan it was like illegal to show actual like penetration pornography. So they invented the whole like tentacle porn. I don't know if you've heard of this.
Oh, I heard of that.
Yeah, yeah.
But even, I mean, I got, for a short time, I got into the anime stuff.
Yeah.
But even that is demonic too, because it would like, and it's not pornography.
Yeah.
But it is anime.
Yeah, the anime movies.
Anime
just
movies?
the movies.
Just the movies.
But they would have a lot of sex scenes.
It was a lot of, and it was very
depicted
graphic
in them. Yeah.
It was very graphic. I mean, it's not showing,
Yeah.
the penetration per se, but it is monsters
Yeah.
with women. And
I remember, what was the one that a Death Scroll or a Ninja Scroll?
Ninja Scroll. Yeah, Ninja Scroll.
Yeah.
Ghost in the
There was
Shell.
like I remember that. There was like a demon having sex with a girl in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, these things, when you're a kid, man, it's exciting because you're like, this movie's so cool because it's different.
Yeah.
But it's introducing
Mhm.
certain ideas, and it just is. You know what I'm saying? Right in there, it's number one, it's sex with a demon, it's
Yeah.
rape, it's
Right.
it's a whole lot of things. So now you take that, and you have this accessible.
Yeah.
Anytime you want.
Yeah. And it's like you can just completely get lost.
You can.
In that world.
You can, because where did this come from? Like even Bill Maher said, as a society, we have to question when something that didn't exist yesterday becomes all of a sudden popular. It becomes all of a sudden a phenomenon. And to not say, excuse me, and to not say, where did this come from? And to act as though that has always been there dormant, but then all of a sudden just popped up.
Yeah.
And this is what he was talking about with the transgender thing. To pretend that this is something just new and it just happened to happen without any pushed agenda is foolish.
Dude, I remember like around when I really stopped watching like the Andrew Schultz podcast, Flagrant, and all of these things. They were doing like these huge conversations about their favorite types of porn. And I remember they would like have people on there who talk about how like they only watch tranny porn.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I deleted a lot of all those guys. I would bring on those people. Yeah.
But I'm hearing people openly talk about this more and more and more, where it's like I'm obsessed with tranny porn.
Yeah.
Where that's the thing now, where it's like, and they make the joke like, well, they say it, they're women, they're women.
Right. Well, once I start hearing, for me, and you and I talked about this before, I made a decision that anytime I'm going to listen to these guys and they're touting erection dysfunction, I'm not going to go any further.
Right. They're selling boner pills, but also obsessed with porn.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're telling you what their life is like right now.
Right. So I deleted. Once I started hearing that, I was like, all right, I know what you're trying. You're targeting these incel type males.
Mhm.
You're targeting them.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow. Yeah.
That's what's. I mean, again, sex. When sex came out of the bedroom,
Yeah.
when sex became a show, right? When sex got put on display, that's when things really amped up.
Yeah.
I think, and that started in the '60s.
Mhm.
You know, real hard.
The sexual revolution.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been around,
Yeah.
but it was promoted back then.
Yeah, but that's where it goes.
I think
man.
throughout history, we've always seen these pockets where like sex just gets out of control.
Yep.
And then what pretty much happens right after that? Some type of
Destruction,
societal collapse.
Yeah.
And
Roman, Greek, Roman.
Yeah.
Right, because they go to the extreme, and the next stage right now, there's two stages.
Yeah.
Pedophilia and bestiality.
Right.
That we're already in.
Dude, I just saw. I showed the article on Freddie's podcast about the dude in Florida, the veterinarian in Florida who got arrested for having sex with dogs.
What?
Yes. I just saw an article 2 days ago of a woman who got arrested for, I think she was doing OnlyFans with a dog. Yeah.
God.
She was making money.
Like, dude.
And again, we talked about this. How on Jubilee,
Yeah.
right, they were like 5 or 6 influencers,
Yeah.
right? And online influencers, and they showed like
Who's making the most
who was
money.
making the most money,
Yeah.
and like it was a sex worker, and then the OnlyFans / TikTok girl, she was killing everybody,
Destroying everybody.
and it just that's what's selling.
It's deviant.
Yeah.
And we do not want it.
Do not want it.
Dude, remember back in the day, probably the first year of the podcast, I would like shock y'all with these weird shows that I would find. And I showed the Vice show where they were doing a whole documentary about people who have sex with insects. Remember that?
Come on.
Yeah.
I remember.
It's not a joke.
It was like
Mom.
a worm.
Yeah, there was a name for it. I forget the.
Sick.
Yeah, but there was like they were doing a show about this because there's a scientific name for people who are sexually attracted to insects.
Yeah.
They made it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy.
But they were
the
like
guy would
acting like it's normal.
Yeah, the guy would put the worm on, his.
That's just
his
one
thing,
version.
and-
Like there was people that like would just like put the bugs like in private part areas and like it was crazy. A dude would talk about how he would just put his penis in a jar full of worms. Like,
Come on.
That's nasty.
yeah.
Don't want to hear it.
That's nasty.
But
you did
again-
show a video too of protesters. They were out with their animals that
Yes.
they had sex with. What are they called?
What are they
my
called?
God.
I showed that on this
Zoophiles.
podcast. Zoophiles, yes.
Yes.
That was in Europe.
Yeah.
Europe, yeah, Germany.
Yeah,
Yes.
and they're trying to normalize having a relationship. And remember the dude had his dog sitting next to him,
And the dog.
and the
looked
dog
like
looked
he's
like
scared.
it's been traumatized.
Right.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's the next stage, man. Is open pedophilia.
How can you like
bestiality?
like that's where they're trying to take it.
Again, but what the only thing that can fight it is the fear of the Lord.
Yeah.
You know, because again, when you don't have purpose, you degrade. You degrade deeper and deeper into depravity.
Yeah. All right, man. We're gonna wrap it up there. It's getting late.
Oh, 11, 12.
We'll hold on to some of this other stuff. We still gotta get to it. There said, that's old. Shout out to everybody who was watching, man. It got a little heavy, but there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. So
Man,
gotta
there's a
talk
lot of
about
crazy stuff going on. I don't even know half of those things you were bringing up.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Man, I
Horrible.
literally I have to like I told you I unsubscribe. I just went in and I just was like, what?
Yeah.
I just went to unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Just all of that.
Because it's nonsense.
It's nonsense.
Yeah.
It's like wasting my time.
Right.
You know.
And these people, like you said, they're getting rich off of incels who they sell, sheet. They sell boner pills. They sell,
Toy, yeah.
Tej Hanley and all of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Boner
but
I've heard about
Blue Chew. That's the one they're always selling. Blue Chew.
I even heard about women having these parties where they bring nasty stuff in. I just like, what?
That's
Oh,
light.
yeah.
You talking about the sex toy parties? That's like
Listen,
that is like
that's
vanilla
not
right
light.
now. That's vanilla. Unfortunately,
Not for mom. You
light
should show
work.
your face when you say stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's probably, you're right. It's probably light compared to what these people are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up though. Man, guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget,
Thank
if you want to
you.
support what we're doing, go to patreon.com/youngliontv. Sign up to become a member. Enter the pride. Join the pride of the Young Lion so we can fight back against all of this cultural deviancy.
You're not going to put it up for me?
No, I don't have it up. I don't
Oh,
have it up.
okay.
So sorry.
It is sick.
And it is deviant, and we do not want it. So
That's
make sure
right.
you guys sign up to fight back against it. And don't forget, the new song release is out now. Go stream that everywhere. And get the merch, Jatan.com, and also in the description for the Young Lion merch if you want to get that. But we appreciate you guys for watching. Like the video on your way out. Share. Shout out to all the people on Rumble. We had a lot of people on Rumble tonight. Yeah. We still didn't get no comments though, but I saw y'all watching. So appreciate y'all. Rumble is picking up the steam, man. But yeah, and Twitter too, man. Shout out to Twitter. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you check us back next week, Tuesday night, 8 p.m. And yeah, that's it. We out.
Young Lion go live, yeah. Young Lion, you rich, yeah.